own.
Nah, man, take your time.
Yeah.
Priorities.
I mean, plus you said you didn't want the spoilers, so you know.
Let me see something.
Yeah, you're not even ready for it. You're not even ready.
All right, now y'all. I don't know.
Well, you have to do nitro. Stuff. You have to click on it. It doesn't automatically do it. Oh, you good, babe.
Okay, yeah, I gotta click.
Even when you change like the layouts and stuff.
Long ago, we looked upon a foreboding sky. The memory of the star that threatened.
You said what? Oh, it's choppy. Oh, you talking about like the main thing? I think it's up top. All right, hang on.
Oh, you the one that started it. All right. I kick out the apartment. Wow. Yeah.
All right. So you said it was stuttery. I mean, my upload may be janky, so I'm not like Ethernet it in. Yeah, yeah. I wonder why, because it's paused like on my screen too, which is strange. How about now?
Long ago, we looked upon a foreboding
looks good for me.
sky. The memory of the star that threatened
Yeah, we
all
hear you, Brandon.
burns eternal in our hearts.
All right.
I mean, shoot, if you can keep that as a tab,
Yeah,
we
I'm
can
trying to
use
keep
that
that
trailer.
up.
For sure.
I just want to keep that up just cause. All right, cool. I'm gonna stop sharing.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
All right, hold up.
Where'd BJ go? Oh, he's rearranging too. We losing. Okay, Brandon's here. There's BJ. Okay, cool.
There we go. Now we work.
Yeah, man. Episode 1 was pretty good, Brandon. We did a good job, I think.
Oh yeah.
I think it was alright.
Yeah, I was like, I was mad I missed it because Oh, we was talking about the Smash thing. I was like, man, Miguel gonna be mad. It's gonna be hype, bro.
I was mad, but like overall, it's just a sucky, dumb situation. So I was like, yeah,
Disconnected.
Yeah. Yeah. And it was crazy. More and more people was getting hit with that jump. He just
BJ, we saw you. Don't run.
he gonna turn off his video. Okay, don't be ashamed. Hey, Blue, you Jordan, right? Bluish Manhattan.
Yo.
What's up, bro? I'm Brandon, man. Nice to meet you, bro.
Same.
Y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah,
I can
I
hear
hear
you.
you now.
Okay, just making sure this piece of junk.
You gotta get rid of that Comcast, man.
Nah, not the Comcast, man. I can't get this man to work on that on my tablet, man. Making me mad.
Bro, don't you got like a super beast computer that you spent?
Yeah, I
Like,
got
he
it.
he got the computer. He
I got the computer, but I ain't got no daggone freaking
ain't by that webcam.
video. I ain't got no video camera mess for that junk yet. I ain't rolling like that yet, y'all. I ain't rolling like that yet. I'm trying to get like Lamar Young, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get Lamar Young.
Oh man. Now look, man. I know y'all talked about this last week. Last of Us sort of ruined some of my favorite songs. Now I can't play "Take On Me" while getting sad.
Hey, you said
Hey,
what?
gang.
What happened?
That's a fact.
I can't even on me without getting sad. Like, oh man, bad man.
That's true.
Playing for Jew.
Well, he might be the odd man out, bro. I hit him up. I added him in the spoilers thread. Maybe we should text him. Hold on, let me text him.
Let's see. I'm grabbing something from my car. I'm be good to go. Un momento, por favor. Oh boy.
How's the day, Jordan?
It was cool. Mostly like outside work, stuff like that. I'm on Animal Crossing now, so
Gosh. Jordan's playing Animal Crossing now. She says send a friend code. I already got him on my profile, so I should be able to pull it up. If not, we can work it out. Oh, speaking of Jordan, this came in today.
yes. A classic. It's like that game is still on my PS3. But I don't want to go back to that. I don't know if it's on PS4 or not either.
What? Persona 5? Yeah, it's on there.
Oh, that's 5. My bad. I was thinking about 4. No, 5.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
I don't even know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, y'all talking about.
Persona. Joker them. Stop had
BJ.
Royale on sale. It was like deal of the day a couple of days ago, and it came with like a Kitsune Funko Pop.
Hey.
Dang, I probably would have got that just for the Funko.
You give me a beautiful Joe remaster.
Beautiful Joe. Yes.
So I've been waiting on y'all.
That would be great.
But they tripping.
Pretty detailed, actually. Look.
Oh, that's really nice. Dang, man.
Where'd BJ go?
The re-release.
You said what?
What's the updated Persona?
Royale. Persona 5 Royale.
Yeah.
So I mean, as far as I know, it's supposed to be the same game, but like a whole bunch of additional stuff at the end. Well, like a whole nother chapter, basically. So, like 20 to 30% more game, with of course all these quality of life improvements and everything. So,
dude, it's mad crazy how accurate they got Japan. We went over there. It was just dead serious, dude. I played some of that. You know that song from that soundtrack, Behind the Mask.
mm-hmm.
That real chilled out beat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Jump all over that, man, because it just matches up.
Yeah, that soundtrack, man. It is.
Soundtrack is dope. It was in the desert, man. River in the dry land.
Are you started Animal Crossing, or like how deep are you into it?
What, me?
Yeah.
So I'm on my second day. I'm waiting for Blathers to come and set up the museum, and then I got my house on the way too.
Okay, so he's waiting for Blathers to set up his museum, and his house is coming. So he just started. I don't think he's time traveling.
No.
No,
I got it. So I got it yesterday. And I started it, but I just continued it today.
Okay. All right, BJ, you straight?
Yeah, I can't get this video to work, so I just ain't gonna worry about it right now.
All right, cool. That's no problem.
Piece of junk.
Hey, did you try open it up? Not using your computer, right?
Well, right now I'm using my computer. I was trying to do it on my tablet. I finally got into settings and I went to enable the permission for the app to use the microphone and video. So I got it all working in Discord or access for Discord. But then when I try to test everything out, it's just blank. Like when I go to test the mic, it's just nothing. And then when I go test the video, I can see clearly like the activation of the camera, but it's just blank. So I'm like, man, screw this junk.
Yeah, okay. Because I have opened up Discord on a web browser and it works fine. You got to download it online.
Yeah, I had trouble on the web browser doing it too, so I was like, "Mump this mess." I'm just gonna, yeah.
I told you about that Internet Explorer, man. I told you.
I need that GoFundMe. I need that GoFundMe, program so y'all can give me a cheap web browser camera.
Yeah, you can add thieves over there.
All right, y'all.
I'm showing my age.
Y'all ready to get this thing on the road?
Yeah.
Do it.
All right.
Still no name for this, but whatever.
I didn't really have. I think Remy's already recording. So as far as like introduction wise, I guess we'll go around, say who we are or whatever. You don't have to use real names. You can use your usernames for your tags or whatever, or if you want to keep it real names, it's whatever. It's for us. So, and yeah, I guess I think before we start saying words, we're going to play the initial 2015 reveal trailer. We're gonna set the tone.
The music. I can't remember when that's when the trailer started. But the music. Jasmine still got that bit on video too.
But my arm was bruised the next morning because Miguel was like, no!
All right, no, keep it. Hold on. Yeah, we gotta talk about that. We gotta talk about it.
All right.
We're gonna go through this journey.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So I am Japan Man X3. Earlier this year, I played Final Fantasy VII Remake. Who else played it?
Name is Brandon, known as B-Man Bandozilla. I also played Final Fantasy VII Remake.
This your boy Song Kei. I bring honor to the chat because I also played Final Fantasy VII.
I guess that leaves me. I am Bluish Manhattan. I also played Final Fantasy VII for the first time ever earlier this year.
Oh,
Very good, very good. So we got old timers and newcomers all alike. So we should have a very diverse conversation. So without further ado, boys, we're gonna play this trailer that I'm sure all of us remember from a very special time, a very special E3. Very, very special.
Boy, when PlayStation popping off, boy.
It was a different time for sure. All right, let's see here. And y'all let me know if everything shows up right and accordingly.
I got you.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Bro, those words, bro, those words take new meaning now that I done played the game.
They do. Yeah. They do.
Because he's literally talking in a sense like this is a sequel.
I hold up.
So they were telling us it was a sequel before.
Let me moderate. I'm be quiet.
All right, man. So that's not a movie, right? You know, we didn't know what that was going to be. I remember this is 2015 now. So 5 years ago, we were at Brandozilla's apartment. Right? No. We were at Soulcave's apartment. Yes.
Yeah.
We've been watching E3 streams all day. RIP E3, by the way, you know.
Yeah.
Sucks. 2020 has been the massacre. But back when E3 was good, we were watching, you know, regular stuff. I think Ubisoft had revealed the game with the controller, or Starlink or whatever. Some weird stuff was happening that day. You know, we always
Guardian.
Yeah. By the time we got to Sony, I had seen a rumor on back when this was NeoGAF, before all the stuff happened with NeoGAF.
Ooh.
Back on NeoGAF, there was a small little rumor that said, "Oh, Final Fantasy VII is probably going to be in the show," and I was like, "No." I remember telling this to Brandon. I remember telling this to William. And I'm like, "Yeah, nah, we know this is not gonna happen. We're not gonna fall for this." So we go into this journey of the Sony press conference, and dreams came true. We had The Last Guardian, which we hadn't seen for years, knew it was coming, promised to be coming. Finally saw like reveal, like
Didn't it show
gameplay.
Shadow
Like,
of the Colossus too?
I'm not. That wasn't at
Yeah,
that one. I
HD.
don't think that was at that one, or it might have been. I can't remember. I just know we definitely saw Last Guardian,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the live stream is on the stage. Adam Boyes is talking, and we're like, wait, nah. And I didn't even really get it when the live stream was on stage. I just thought that was like a green ribbon or something like that. Then this special trailer starts playing, and as things progress in this trailer, you're thinking to yourself, okay, this seems like Final Fantasy related. And it's like, okay, Yoshinori Kitase, okay. The music kicks in, and you're like, oh, that piano.
Yeah.
But still, it's all
it's
CG.
yellow.
You know what I'm saying? It's showing you the city. You hear an ominous voice narrating and everything like that. But then they show the arm cannon, and you're like, oh, okay. But still, like, we don't know. Is this a movie? We don't know what it is. We just know 7 is coming back in some type of way. And then that word pops on screen, and it says remake. I didn't even see anything else.
Yeah.
I didn't even see anything else. Shenmue 3 came after that, and it was like,
what?
Yeah. So yeah, that was the Night of Dreams. It was Night of Dreams.
Dude, we all got kicked out of Sonkei's house.
Yeah, I'm sure he got noise complaints.
Oh no, bro! The best part about that Jasmine got that all on video.
Yes, we gotta find some way to splice the video in. That'll be dope. That'll be dope. All right, so 5 years later, it's been a long wait. Some of us have been waiting since we saw the tech demo for PlayStation 3. I remember that. Like,
I remember
for the
that
PS3 reveal, they had a tech demo of the opening section of Midgard. And at that point in time, I was like, this is the best this game will ever look. This is the best this game is ever going to look. They just need to do this, release this. Nah, tech demo never happened. So by the time this happened, we were just, I don't know, man. I didn't think it was going to happen. Oh, there we go. We have another challenger.
Ooh, what's up, Julian?
4 has entered.
Hey, man.
Yes.
Dude, what year do you think that tech demo released?
Hey, we hear you, boy.
That tech demo released when they were advertising, when they were trying to garner up PlayStation 3.
Yeah, that was
tech demo.
And let me see. Let me look.
2005.
2005?
What are we talking about? So where we at?
First tech.
So all we've done is played the original reveal trailer, and now we're talking about the journey, like how long it took to get to this point. So all of us, I think, can remember. Our lives have definitely changed. We definitely went from boys to men waiting for this game. But yeah, no, like there was the tech demo. You said it was 2005.
2005. Dang. That was when that tech demo was released. I was in 8th grade going to 9th grade. That came out. I'm married. And got no hair. Pay bills.
2005 day. That's when I graduated high school, bro.
And
crazy.
That long.
So that's where even I think the first thought, because I'm sure there were rumors beforehand, like in game magazines and everything, that okay, Square Enix is gonna be doing remakes of their games or something. I've heard that.
Yeah, I remember
back
that.
during that time they were hinting at that. I was never privy to that. If it wasn't a Game Informer, I didn't see it. So that tech demo, for what it was, all intents and purposes, it was just amazing looking. I didn't think that anything like that would be possible. And then that was kind of it, like we always waited. And Square Enix had a streak of showing good looking things and and them never coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Like we were all over there for 13. We all saw the 13 reveal trailer and looking like, oh my god, this lightning person, she is the one. And that game took a
I remember
whole
with
nother
13. I remember 13. Every Thursday, I would ask you, "Hey man, that platinum coming?" You like, "Man, I gotta get every item. I gotta beat this big old turtle thing and keep
Yep.
kicking my butt." And yeah, I remember that. I remember the
Man,
13.
to this day, I don't know
didn't
how Silco 4 like did that so fast because it took me 2 years to get the platinum for that game, maybe even 3. It's crazy. Good game, but it's not the one we're talking about today. We are talking about Final Fantasy
Yeah.
7.
So,
So look, 5 years later, after this reveal trailer, we made it. Game came out earlier this year. Before everything hit the fan, we all got a chance to enjoy it. Took our time. Some of us, played it multiple times. Me. um, so yeah, man, where do you all want to start? We have the game itself, just mechanically. We can talk about the combat. We can talk about the story.
I think we should hold the story for last because that's just going to take the
Okay.
longest discussion.
really?
That's going to take the longest. Let's be honest. That's going to take the longest discussion.
It's true. It's true.
We might as well get the other aesthetics out from graphics to playability to gameplay, all of that. Let's focus on that first.
All right. So let's just talk about
Gameplay.
graphics. Let's talk about the reveal of these characters who we all know about block hand. Everyone had these big Lego hands and fingers. 97 was a different year. But what do y'all think about how these characters look in this day and age? After you've seen them represented in so many forms of media, like, would you say this is the best interpretation of them? Did you have things you disliked about the remade people? Like, what are your opinions on the characters?
I feel like the way they made the characters look back in the old game when it came out, that was cutting edge. I feel like it's pretty much if you could mess with the timeline like somebody does. I'm not gonna we're gonna get to that later, but pretty much it's like a faithful interpretation, but they just added so much to the aesthetic because especially with the PlayStation 1 game, if y'all remember, Midgard was just like little pictures, like I would forget what they call sprites. It was sprite stuff posted someone, but with next gen stuff, they got, if you look at Midgard, it's like fog effects going on. It's like low lighting being used, and just they can make some parts of the city look just dirty and stank and just great. And yeah. I mean, you can look at Garrett, and Garrett just look like product of his environment. He's perfect to me. But yeah, it's cool, man. What you think, okay? Or Blue?
I think the visuals came out very well. They definitely, this is, in my personal opinion, definitely better than Advent Children's designs. Like, they really capitalized on the look, the design, what they were going for. Cloud, he looks exactly like you would see him in general. And same with Barrett, Tifa. I know a lot of people were harping on how Tifa's design was going to look because they really wanted her to have that, that bust size. But I think in terms of her design, it came out right. And then all the other characters, of course, obviously you don't get to play with Red 13, but I like Red 13's design. It looked right. And of course you got a little glimpse at some of the other characters, but overall I loved the visuals. They were top notch, almost dang near better than 15.
I can say,
my bad.
Oh no, you good. First off, I'm gonna just go ahead and say my perspective is definitely gonna be a little different than y'all's, because like I said, I'm very new to 7 in general. I wouldn't really, like, I was born the year 7 came out, so I didn't really get to go back until recently to experience the first one. So I'm gonna try and give y'all as best the idea of how I felt coming into the series, and I can tell you right now, the visuals are amazing. Like, to me, 15 was kind of like their launching point. I always felt like 15 stands alone as a game, but I feel like that was definitely the setup for what was to come in 7, because 7 is beautiful from the the way everybody is animated, from the way that they look, the fact that their faces do not look awful, which a lot of games do wrong. Even when it comes down to like combat, some of the particle effects and just the different hit strikes and how you use the different materia looks beautiful. This game looks cutting edge for sure.
Hard to imagine part 2 looking any better.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be on the next gen system. That's hard to imagine it. Like,
I mean,
It's
just
crazy,
the
like-
attention to detail, like even when like what Blue was talking about, how like with the materia in any cutscene, no matter what, the materia that you chose was on the items that you were using in the game. So like just as simple as like you had a blue materia here, green materia there, red materia there, it would show. And I'm like, just that attention to detail. They could have just put a generic materia stand in, but they didn't. Like they let your character be your character.
And something that I think is really cool that like what Blue mentioned is like, in 15, that was the first time where, Final Fantasy took this more active RPG type feel. Up until that point, most mainline Final Fantasy games, with the exception of Final Fantasy 12, pretty much were role playing to the extent of turn based, right? We had, it was all either ATB, which is still turn based, or like I said, 12 was the outlier besides like the MMOs, where you had a situation, where you're controlling your character, moving around, and even then, it's still turn based to an extent because you're not actively pressing a button to attack. There is the attack command, but you still have to dig into the menus to summon or do spells or whatever. So with 15, that was the first time where it's like, yeah, fully control your character. And when 15 initially came out, it's only Noctis. You're only playing as Noctis. You're not switching like you can now after the more recent updates that came out. And I just remember that visually casting, well, with 15, you just created like the spell item, like the fire or the ice, and then like if you boosted it, it will be more powerful. But when you threw it at an enemy and it did the actual effect, it was huge. Or like when a summon came, it affected like the whole area, and I was like, whoa, that's crazy. And so in this game, it looks even better, which I thought was crazy at first. But like, it's funny because I went back and played. I got the platinum for 15 like a couple nights after I got the platinum for 7, because I never got the platinum for 15. I never beat like the adamantoids to get the platinum, and I was like, man, 7 looks so much better than this. Like, I get that the open world for 15 looks really good. I haven't played it on PC either, so I'm sure you can make it look better there. But on a PlayStation 4 Pro, no, Final Fantasy VII Remake looks a ton better.
Yes. Yes.
It's a big difference.
I'm going to attribute that. I like the way the graphics and the design that they kept it true to formula. They didn't try, let's do 7, but let's make Midgard a big open world where you can go in shops and people's houses and do all that. I think because they kept it true to form and just upgraded the graphics, they was able to take the time and like, let's keep the material in the slots. Let's just do all of that. And I'm glad that they did that. Like I enjoyed that it was linear, but it was beautiful.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that section where you're going up after Midgard falls, the plate falls, and that skybox is just before you fight that whatchamacallit, boy, I just had to take a moment and just look. That skybox was amazing.
Yeah. How many times did y'all stop playing the game and just turn the camera just to see where you were at?
Oh, many.
Too many.
Every 10 minutes.
Oh, many.
I can tell you that.
Fam, like walking into Midgard and then just panning the camera up and seeing the plate, you're like, what?
Wow.
What I love about it is that even, like what Sonke mentioned with that, when the plate fell, I'm just thinking of the little moments, like, when you go and help our bomb expert on the team. What I'm talking about. You do the bike mission.
Yeah.
You talking about what?
Yeah.
Or you talking? No. You're talking about Jesse.
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 Jesse,
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah, Jesse.
when you're done with the bike run, you're on top of the plate and it's nighttime and it's just calm. I would just look around the city at that point. It's the atmosphere, dude. They captured it
And it
perfectly.
feels alive.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the reason why, and I feel like in the grand scale of things, of all the Final Fantasies, that's what makes Final Fantasy VII unique, because the concept was fantasy meets reality. And so you see these things that are just amazing looking, but then you see it blended with the familiar, you know? And I think 15 tried the same thing too, which was still good, but 7 just, man, 7's atmosphere
It's
is
way
amazing.
more focused. Like you think about 15's world, and not that I love 15 personally, but like
Yeah.
it's just a big open space. You know,
Yeah.
it's a big field for the most part. Whereas Midgard, we've known since kids for us, was just fully defined. Like you knew exactly what that city was, and the game knows that too because it sells you that full image of Midgard as soon as you start the game. Right, like as
And
soon as you start the game, they pan out and you see the whole
That
city.
flyover.
yeah,
You see the
Yep.
whole city.
Yep. Exactly.
And then they
Whereas
zoom
like
back in.
15, like it's big and open world, but it's not alive. It's just there for you to go from here to here to do fetch hunts,
I agree.
basically. Whereas 7, I mean, shoot, with the OG one, you know, of course, we all loved Midgard as it was back in the old days, but they really took the time to bring it to life. I mean, anywhere from going inside of Shinra headquarters to being on top
My
of the
goodness.
plate to anywhere, like it felt alive. Like it wasn't just dead and barren. I mean, something as simple as like when I went to where was it Sector 7 or 6 where Aerith is from, but you go into
Sector
that little
5,
alley. Sector
Yeah.
5, when you go in that little alleyway where the kids have their like little own area, I'm like, you just take the time to kind of like, it felt alive, it felt real.
Yeah. And then just even deeper than like the characters in these environments, the NPCs in this game are some of the best NPCs because they talk about stuff. They talk about everything happening currently, and they're reacting in the way that like makes sense. Like when you get to the first location after the you do the first initial bombing run, you come down to Sector 7 in the slums, everyone's kind of reacting to it. They're like, oh my god, yo, Avalanche did this is crazy, I gotta go to work tomorrow, or I can't go home because the train, like, and literally like, you're just walking past people and they're all talking. Like, it's great. So in every city, it all has that. Like when you get to Sector 5, the kids are around, you get to see them as you're walking around. Like they define just this experience, as it were. It's not just so open and empty and you doing a lot of stuff solo or even just talking to your teammates. Like you literally are interfacing with a world that has these livable, breathable characters, it seems like, that are reacting to the same events that you're experiencing too. So yeah, it's crazy. So towards that, let's talk about some of these environments. Let's talk about some of the locations. I mean, again, it's crazy because with remake, a lot of times I haven't touched like original Final Fantasy VII in a while. So I'll be interested to see for you, Blue, if after you finished remake, when you went back to OG7, like how did it compare and contrast with some of those environments? Because here it is where we got some very condensed, focused worlds, like settings inside of this world, whereas in the first game it's kind of just a couple screens. So what did you see a big difference there?
Amazingly, I think they did something that makes me appreciate it a whole lot more, because when you go back and you play the original, you recognize a lot of the things that are in the game. So like even in OG, of course everything is very blocky. It's pixelated. I'm adjusted to that. I don't really care about that much because I know technology grows. But just the true to how the old version is, like the gym when you get to what's the city called where you do the pull-up thing?
Wall Market.
Thank you. Yeah, when you get to Wall Market, the gym looks almost identical, like touched up and looking way better, but it looks identical to the original. A lot of the other little spots and shops that you could go to in original are still there and look super, super similar. You know, the place where that has that where you walk in and you put in the code and the machine gun kind of points at you. It's exactly the same in Remake. So I loved how they took what they had, like the base that they had in the original, and they made it look even better. And they made it feel, like we've been saying, alive. The environments are excellent, but they're true to form, which to me is not something that a lot of remakes, I guess, do to this degree. Because you didn't have to put these same landmarks in there. You didn't have to make it recognizable or super recognizable to the fans for us to love it. But you did that anyway. So it's like, it's just attention to detail that I really appreciated.
I just have to say that when you going through the Shinra headquarters and you go through that VR room.
Oh my gosh, that was just much.
The approach to the Shinra building was that's probably top 10 gaming moment, top 5 gaming moments.
What was nice about it is what
the whole
Blue
Shinra chapter, the whole when you get the Shinra headquarters, you just sitting outside. I paused for a good 5 minutes, not just.
I was like, "Am I doing this? Is this happening? Like, am I like when you walk inside and then you just look up and you like, this building is humongous." But then it makes so much sense because in the game it was like, you're going up elevators at like 84, so you're like, whoa, they did it. Like they got this perspective.
Who took the elevator? Who took the stairs?
I took elevator. I took the stairs each time.
The stairs, bro. Barrett was killing me, my dude.
They model each floor. They model each floor. I loved it, man. Who took the elevator? Anybody?
I did. I did. You took the elevator? Nice.
I took the elevator.
What happened on the elevator?
The stairs are great, bro. There's so much that happens on the stairs.
They did add something to the elevator where it kind of humanized a lot of the Shinra employees. Because you walk in, so you go up the elevator, first floor opens, and it's like somebody ready to box with you. So you got to fight. Next floor, I think it opens again, and then somebody wants to fight again. You get to a third floor, and like Cloud, Baird, and Tifa are all like ready for a third fight. But it's just some random Shinra employee that just walks in and he's talking to his mom. And he's like, yeah, I'll be home soon. Or he's just talking about inconsequential stuff. But it's with his mother. And it kind of humanizes like, yo, Shinra is this evil corporation.
I'm in here, but it got people in here. Like, really,
exactly.
I'm finna destroy your livelihood.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like, dang, you got bills to pay. Dang, I'm saying.
Well, that's crazy because like when you go up the stairs, like first of all, you literally go up every floor, and like it's so funny because at first everyone's kind of starting off like, all right, let's do it, and then you hit like floor 30. It's like either floor 30 or 40, and Barrett just like he's like, this is hard. We should have go back down and take the elevators. And then like the music starts to get really weird. Like I thought my game was glitching or something. And the music just starts getting really trippy. And then Cloud, you're running, you're running, and he starts getting slower. And it keeps like getting super duper slow to the point where you're just literally like just kind of pacing yourself, just like lumbering up the steps. Barrett is like, man, this sucks. Like he's just getting furious, like going crazy. Cloud's getting mad, like him and Barrett like trade like jabs with each other. Tifa's trying to keep the boys calm down, and it literally takes a long time. Like it's the most weirdest experience, but it just makes so much sense. Like it was perfect.
Yeah.
I feel like they took that out of Kojima's notebook. With the ladder. What was that song that was on that anyway? But that was the trouble.
Yeah, on what was that? Snake Eater.
Snake Eater.
The ladder.
The ladder, the definite ladder.
And they played the whole music. I was like, oh no.
Oh man.
Yeah.
So,
but then you go no, go ahead.
Yeah, hop in. What were you saying?
No, I was gonna say that, and then you go through that entire sequence, and you actually go up to the top. You do your little battles and stuff like that, and you literally can go to the highest point of the Shinra Tower. Like you can literally, like, bro. Yeah, where Sephiroth was standing, you can go to the highest point of the tower and you can just look up. The game doesn't force you to
It's
go down.
crazy.
You could just stand there and look out over Midgard in its entirety. And you're like, you literally came up that high. And they took the time to actually even show you it all. Like the
I thought something
skyboxes.
was gonna happen when you go all the way up there, because
Yeah.
Sephiroth was just up there. So I
Yeah.
definitely was like, "Oh snap! When I get up here, I don't know what's gonna happen." And it was like, "Oh, you can just see stuff."
I don't remember a single loading screen. They probably blended it with the stair climb, but that stuff just I don't remember any loading through this. You know, so yeah. Can we comment on the voice acting?
Ah, yes.
Yeah, the
Voice acting
they
is
did that
perfect. They did. They did. I mean,
best representation of Barrett like ever.
I love that Barrett, man. That Barrett was perfect.
Yeah. Very well done. Very well done. Sephiroth's voice though kind of had me a little off because I like Advent Children's Sephiroth's voice actor would have probably been a better choice here, but I understand probably whatever the case may be logistic wise, but still, aside from that, very well done voice acting. Even down from the aside from the main cast, the NPCs as well.
Can I go light spoiler real quick?
Yeah, no, go ahead. We're full spoilers. Like
okay, cool. I'm gonna just say, at some point I did go back and I don't have the physical game of with Zach.
Crisis Core? Yeah.
Crisis Core, thank you. I don't have the physical game, but I went back and watched like the whole cutscene like as a movie thing. I do like Zach's voice in Crisis Core more than this one, just because it felt, I guess after everything he went through, it felt a little bit more appropriate. But Zach's voice is not bad by any means. But I do like the old voice. I'm just putting that out there.
Yeah. But I agree with Sonke with Sephiroth. I like Sephiroth's voice actor from Advent Children. This guy, he sounds good, but he sounds a little bit younger. I don't know how to put it. Like how in Advent Children, you listen to that Sephiroth voice there, he sort of whisper sings, like he's like, "Hello,
shall I give you pleasure?"
he's nice with it, he's smooth with it. But man. And not only the voice acting, but the dialogue, how they wrote the lines, it just seems like, like for example, Barrett in the old game, which Blue's probably playing, you probably picking up now. He's pretty much Mr. T. He's pretty much Mr.
Exactly.
T. He still is Mr. T in this game, but with an updated dialogue. Like he said, so y'all remember in the beginning of the game, he has Cloud. So he said something like, what's your number or something? I don't know. And Cloud said, soldier, first class. He like, your age, not your rank. Like, the way it's just,
Like
age, not only,
I appreciated the emotional aspects of a lot of the characters, which actually surprised me. I usually look to like a Naughty Dog game or something to like really pull on my heartstrings, like Uncharted 4, like Drake doing stupid stuff and like breaking up his marriage almost. I'm like, Drake, come on, Drake. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm emotionally attached to him as a character. But like with Final Fantasy, of course, you have these people who you like. Like Tifa's always been cool, you know what I'm saying? Or Cloud always has been cool, huh? Oh, Jessica does not like Tifa. She likes Aerith. But anyway, we Tifa gang over here. Anyway, so oh, we can have this discussion too at some point.
I haven't beat OG. I haven't beat OG yet. So just as of right now, I'm Aerith gang. I'm just letting.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just me.
Wow.
Prepare to suffer. But anyway.
yeah.
He put his best.
But no, like, so man, some of these cutscenes, or even just playing the game, it was like really impactful. Like, I remember distinctly in the beginning where Tifa and Cloud it was like the Johnny sideline, and so like the Shinra people, I think, come in and they're trying to interrogate and try and figure out who Avalanche is related to or whatever, and they take Johnny like back in the back of like Sector 7 in the slums, and so like you have to like kind of like stalkily follow them and everything. But then you like fight the soldiers, and then Cloud is like, oh, so he's gonna snitch. Well, if he's gonna snitch, we might as well off him right here. And Tifa was like, Cloud, you're scaring me. And I was like, oh, like that kind of hit me a little different. Like she really thinks Mans has changed. Like he's a killer. Like she hasn't seen this side of him before, and that felt like a very believable transaction. Like as far as their conversation, and something else, like like one of the best scenes in this game to me was like besides all the regular like amazingness that happens was when Aerith goes back to Seventh Heaven to get Marlene
Mm-hmm.
after when the plate's falling and everything like that. And dude, like that scene was so emotional for me. Like she's like just trying to convince this little girl, like it's okay, like I'm here, and she's like super scared. She just wants her dad. And I'm like, I didn't really expect Final Fantasy VII or any Final Fantasy game. Like I play Kingdom Hearts. Like they don't hit me like that. So, so I was just very impressed at like the range that they went to. I was like, man, like they're really earning some of these characters. Like these people are really believable.
Like the Tifa flashback when her dad dies, and just the voice acting there was great because she was like, "I'm tired of this." Like, she's tired of it, and I believed it. The emotional there. Yeah, it's they did a thing.
Such a oh man. Okay, so when we get the story, we'll open up a little bit more about how you appreciate the characters and everything. Let's switch gears. Let's talk about this gameplay. Let's talk about the exploration, side quests, the battle system, and boss fights. Like, I mean, enemy designs, whatever, but like, we gotta talk about boss fights at some point.
Well, first off, let me at least say this: I'm glad they put a voice line in there where Cloud literally says that some of these side quests is BS. Because it's great. I agree with them greatly. Because at least they gave me the satisfaction of knowing that some of this junk is just stupid.
Some of it just stupid. Okay. Yeah, for sure. I agree. I have to agree with that.
The opening side quests.
Yeah. I will say this: the last thing about dialogue and gameplay, I feel like they put like a Marvel filter on it a little bit in a good way. In that, they modernized the dialogue, but they put some clips in there, like what BJ just mentioned, that kind of breaks the fourth wall a little bit. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boss fight for me, guys. I'm sorry. Hell House. Hell House is the best one in the entire game. The reason why I say that.
I'm sorry. No. When you fight Rufus Shinra, I'm sorry. That joint was too far. Rufus Shinra. Rufus Shinra, he wasn't no punk. I thought he was about to be a punk, and he wasn't.
I felt all that. I felt all that.
Oh, we all talking
about. So for me, with the dog, like, oh man, that junk was crazy.
I like
but
that.
No, like.
No, bro, he was crazy. Like, first you fight him with the dog, right? And then, like, that's a whole set of mechanics on its own. You finally get the dog to be put down, and this boy switch it up on you, and he ain't playing games. I was like, oh, jump, I gotta switch it all the way up.
I said, why? Why is Rufus on fire in his game? It looked like he went Kingdom Hearts and came back with Ultima. Like,
it's funny because like really he didn't like he was very basic in the first game. Yeah. And like Advent Children was the only time I thought he was kind of cool. I was like, oh, that's kind of dope. He can shoot stuff. But even then, like it wasn't nothing crazy. But like this one, I was like, oh snap.
Yeah. No, he told Cloud, I own you. I was like, ooh, I'm like, this man is nasty. Like, yeah. I ain't gonna lie.
To me, the top one though, I mean, now granted, fighting Sephiroth at the end of the game, totally unexpected. I think that's top tier, a whole nother level. Like, I didn't think that was gonna happen in this game, honestly. So I was purely impressed. It's just like cheesing the whole time.
Just so you know, we're gonna come back to that later because I got theories about that. But
yeah. But no, man, the Genova fight, was insane. Like
Ooh,
that
which
took me to
one
places
though?
like,
Or which?
especially like once the Genova music kicked in, and you like, oh! Like
Yeah.
that got my pulse throbbing, man. I was like, yo, like from just like going into that like dreamlike world or whatever. It's just like, coming from just the staticness of just a regular turn-based game from the original, you're just used to just being like an environment in the background, your characters in the foreground, and you just doing your commands, everyone just fighting back and forth, and that's it. Whereas like with this one, it's like it's fully detailed. You can see what's happening around you, and this bloodborne looking boss, like out of nowhere, like it's like they really were able to get the same stuff that they imagined back then, but could not. They just didn't have the technology to make it in '97. They're like, yeah, no, we're doing this time. Like, we're gonna give it all the detail that it needs. That boss fight was insane to me, man. Like, it was so good. But like every single one of them just had all the like the transitions. Like, no, what game has the budget to make these transitions that just like Hell House first of all should not exist. It has no right to be that good of a boss fight, bro.
Yeah.
But it does.
Oh my god.
But that's what I love about it, because like that does not exist. It's ridiculous. It's like what Julian said earlier. They stayed faithful to what they had. That's a ridiculous concept, but they did it anyway, and I appreciate the mess out of that. But and two, like, yeah, it does, and like, and I feel like what this game captured, what a lot of things are missing in most modern games, is you come across the boss fight, you usually feel like, oh, a boss fight is coming. But not only that, but back in the day, when you took a boss fight, like one that was actually tough, like you said, Mig, your heart start racing and stuff like this. This game takes that and put the atmosphere to match it. So you're like, at least with me, I was like leaning forward the whole time in most of these boss fights. Like,
yeah. Oh man, when you're fighting it's not Airbuster, but it's like one of the Airbuster type weapons. And it's close to the end of the game before you finish the Shinra building, and it's just Barrett and Aerith in Red 13. And the way you have to beat the boss, like once it gets into like its final phase, he just has a laser. And you have to stand behind the rock to like avoid it, but then it blows the rock up. So like you literally have to like run up and just like throw everything at it. Like if you got limits, if you just got magic, like whatever you have to throw it at him to try and kill him. Fam. Like
the longer you fight him, the less shelter you have, because he's blowing up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That was a good fight too. Dang, that was
yeah.
Oh,
you can't hardly sleep on any of the boss fights, man. They're all really good.
I will say there was one boss fight I thought was too easy. It was the one that you sort of did a Build-A-Bear workshop for your boss. You know, you like, hey,
regular
Airbuster was kind of easy. I will say that. I think the Airbuster was easy, but other than that, they were awesome.
Yeah.
I guess for me, I got an extra like one to bring out early in the game, even though it's very early and it is kind of teaching you more of the system. But when you fight homeboy with the motorcycle and he wants the 1v1s, that was excellent. It was an easy fight, but it was excellent.
As far as newest characters being added, he is just fire anyway. But I appreciate it.
Completely insane.
Dude, take it on his own road just so he can fight Cloud 1v1. Like, dude.
Yeah, that was crazy. So yeah, I thought that was really dope. We talked about a little bit with the side quests a little bit, and so yeah, definitely in the beginning of the game, to me, some of the side quests were very fetch quests. Collect as many of these or kill this amount and then come back. But I do like that. Pretty much, I think only Sector 7 had the weaker ones. Like you get to Sector 5, you're hanging with the kids. They have some cool ones. There's like this old dude whose wife has died.
Yeah.
And then you go to the graveyard, do the quest, and come back and basically say, yo, never visit your wife again. Like that joke was funny. And then Wall Market, that deserves its own. Oh man, Wall Market is crazy. But did everyone in here fight the Type 0 Bahamut?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No.
Yeah. No?
No.
Oh man.
No.
Okay.
I heard about it. I've seen it on videos and stuff like that, but I never fought it because like Some of them daggone summon fights would just, boy, they take it out of you. That fat chocobo, boy. I just,
Well, no.
Yeah.
So you can
Leviathan?
fight you can. Oh man, yeah. The summon fights
Leviathan was hard. Yeah,
he was
to
hard.
me.
Leviathan was
Leviathan
like
was
my
hard,
first one that
yeah.
I couldn't hit. Yeah. But no, so there is the one that's in the VR missions, like you're saying, Sonke. But actually, like in the open, you can fight a prototype Type Zero Bahamut. He's like
Yeah,
down.
it's a side
It's a
mission, ain't it?
side
Ain't it
mission,
like a
yeah.
side mission? Yeah.
wait, hold
So
on.
like, there's like a rumor that there's some beast trapped within the facility that was underneath Sector 7, and when you're walking through it, it's buried.
Yes.
Yeah,
Hey,
I do. That's right. I do remember that. Yeah, I did do
yeah,
that. Like
A
totally
berserker,
missable.
not
Like totally missable too.
yeah,
Like that's an
totally.
optional boss. Yes, I do remember that. That was fire.
Yeah, it was dope, man. Because like you see the effects and you hear stuff happening, and you're like, okay, that can't be anything but a Bahamut. Like every Final Fantasy is known for the Bahamuts. Like they are the ones. Or no, I'm sorry, Behemoths, not Bahamut.
Yeah,
Even though
Behemoth.
Bahamut does come into play later
Yeah,
on.
yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, you're like, oh man, like Behemoth, cool. And honestly, the best Behemoth fight up until this point was the one in 15 for me. I was like, whoa, they went all out. Like he was dope in 15. So for this one, it was like just the pure thrill of like searching for it, and then like you see it, and you're like, that is like unlike any Behemoth I have ever seen. But yeah, that was a dope fight too. But I liked a lot of the side quests. I think my favorite one, man, if I could pick a favorite, I think like it's the more humorous ones, like the ones with like Johnny. I didn't expect the Johnny side quest to be good. I definitely thought they were like one-off type things. And then when he kept following you from city to city, I was like, I got kind of invested. I kind of liked them. So yeah, I think that whole transition of doing all of his quests was pretty fun. What about y'all?
Like I'm Team Tifa all day long.
As
All
you
right,
should
let's
be.
make that known
As you
first.
should be, yes.
But when you first meet Aerith, the missions that the side quests you go on her, that was pretty cool. It was pretty cool because you got to see how nice of a girl she was, and yeah, it was pretty cool. It was nice. It was nice. It was like a moment for the game, you know.
Yeah, definitely. Sector 5 was very chill vibes.
Yeah. What you think, old Silk?
I mean the whole thing, man. I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, I don't know, man. Everything was just good. Everything was just the way it should be. I mean, it was just the way it should be.
I guess if I had to pick one, even though it's in the OG one, but where they really like stretch out the whole drunk dude that was just chilling at the bar. Like that whole, like they stretched that into a whole side mission that was long as heck and almost felt like it was stupid, but completely warranted. Like it was great.
Yeah, man.
Do you have a favorite one, BJ?
Hold on. I'll be right back.
Oh, okay, do your thing. Well, yeah, while he's away, Wall Market, man. So first of all, I guess the biggest thing is probably the Honeybee Inn. Like, like I don't know how they were gonna do this.
Mask up, my boy. Mask up, my boy.
Can I just say
He did
how
it so good.
shocking? Can I just say how shocking that was as a first time person? I come into it. I already understand this work. This is Final Fantasy. Things gonna get a little different. I didn't expect Homeboy. We went through a whole DDR section. Like this is weird, but it was great at the same time.
It was crazy. Like playing that in front of Jessica was like, yeah, I probably had some explaining to do.
Yeah.
But understand that I'm loving every moment of this. This is great.
Cloud never addresses it. Like once he meets up with Tifa, Tifa and Aaron's all dressed up, he never addressed the fact that he's like, shut up, don't even talk.
Shut up. Like yeah, like when he's coming out the building and like Aerith like sees him and she's just trying to talk to him, you like trying to follow him. He's like, yeah, don't talk to me. Like, no, I already know.
When they were dancing and stuff, I'm sorry, I was alright with the dancing. It was sus. It was super sus. It was just
For sure.
He was hitting a lot of moves really proper. I was like, yo, man.
When I'm proud to do place like this, and they just like, I'm like, nah, bro.
Nah.
Had
I failed mine the first time because I couldn't take it. I said,
On purpose.
On purpose.
and I got a
Nah,
trophy
don't
to
do
win
it.
because he got to impress
Yeah.
Eris.
Yeah, yeah.
You had to get it right. I got it wrong. I said, nope. I got to do it again. I got to go back. You're not going to tell me
To your
to do
point
it
though,
right.
like I did notice, and y'all probably saw it too, like how with some of the trophies and even just a lot of the events, um, depending upon your performance, it was like the reactions in those cutscenes would be different. And it's not like super overstated. Like you can know you're doing bad, but it's not a rhythm game or it's not like a puzzle game where like it says you're doing the wrong thing, like you're failing this mission. Like it's not like that. It's just that people's commentary on what they saw happening to you in the game was like, you could do better. I'm sure you're trying your best, or something like that. Or like the dreaded mini game where or not even mini game, but like when you're trying to pull the levers.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, so, hey, Julian.
Yeah.
How you feel about them squats and pull-ups, man? How you feel about that?
Oh my God. I was like, this is stupid.
The squats weren't that bad, but the pull-ups,
The
boy, that man
pull-ups,
started
Yeah.
cheating.
I
That
had
man
to look
started
it up. I
cheating.
said,
I'm
oh
dead
my
serious.
Yeah.
God, you are
This boy started busting them out like a second apiece. I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
ain't
I'm
no
like,
way.
stop.
Yeah. And he
I
would
was
catch like
like,
a
this
second win. The game would be like, it will fail him one time. And then you're like, okay, I got him. And then all of a sudden he
I
just crank out like
actually,
20. I was like, yo,
it
what
was
is
something
happening?
it was, I can see at least 3 times where I didn't miss a beat and I still lost. I was like, I
Boy.
can't get any faster than this. I know it's 3
I'm gonna
times
have to
to get. I had to look that up and say, how many do I need to get to beat him? And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God. So I have to get this many, at least to win.
Yeah, yeah.
About to use action replay game shark to beat that.
It reminded me of, like, I don't know how many of y'all played Super Mario Odyssey, but like it had like a jump rope mini game and a volleyball mini game. And those were just like tremendously hard for no reason. And it definitely was like moons tied to it. And I was like, I gotta do this, but this is tough. Like, so yeah, it was the same thing with the push-ups, not push-ups, the pull-ups and the squats. The squats were really easy for the most part. Once you got into a rhythm, you could just kind of keep going. But the pull-ups threw me off a lot at first. Yeah. Oh man, so yeah, Walmart it was gorgeous, man. I appreciated everything about that. The massage parlor scene again, just like I was like, dang, I've never seen Cloud be so soft before. Like,
Hey, who went and watched the other versions, depending on what your price point was. Oh,
I purposely did it when I was going for the platinum. Like, I just like, well, each time I do this over, I'm gonna like make poor decisions so I can get different reactions.
Yo,
So he's literally like getting beat up. He come out like limping and stuff.
Dang, man.
Oh man.
I like how Cloud. I like how Cloud was the butt of the jokes a lot of the time because he's such a stuck up, dude. The game makes fun of him for it, and I love it. I love every minute.
Yeah, he's so overly macho. Like he's like such a man soldier. I'm soldier. I'm supposed to be cool. I was like, nah, fam, you're not that cool. Like you're cool, but like that's not why we like you. The announcers for the arena, those dudes were hilarious too.
Yeah.
They grew on me a lot, and then they started becoming more intertwined with the Don Corneo storyline. And did y'all ever like walk back down to the basement?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just hear the dude like kind of like making noises, and then you go around into the room, and he's like tied up in the sex dungeon, and I'm like, yo, what are you here for?
If we talking about side characters, can we please talk about the Turks and how doggone OP they became? They
Oh,
Reno was like straight out the
Yes.
movie. He was straight out Advent Children.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was straight out Advent Children. I was
Yeah.
like, why wouldn't y'all like this in Advent Children? I was like, yo. I was like, I know. I think we gotta fight them again if they keep making another. How they gonna get awesome?
Yeah.
You know, Reno kicked my butt the first time I fought him because I didn't have the right stuff equipped. He kicked my butt, and them little electric balls he used to shoot out, they'll stun you, then they'll stun lock you, then he just come, whip up on you. Yeah,
Yeah.
big overhaul. Yeah, man. Gameplay wise, but in terms of like the battle system, I feel like if we're going to battle, is it good to go on battle system, Mig? Still here?
He froze up.
Oh.
Yeah, he froze. That man froze.
Oh man.
Frozen in time.
Frothing the talking. Tell him again. He said the lag.
I'm on the phone.
Man.
I thought I was on the phone.
That's what wait for me though.
Mm.
Y'all about to make me play this again.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm about
to
pop it back in, start working back for them trophies.
Yeah, I was planning going back and playing it on hard mode. I gotta this shit.
The struggle. I do like how I don't know. I guess I have a hate-love relationship on how they elongated the train yard scene.
Yeah, that's definitely elongated.
It's
Blue, when you play that in you probably did you get to that part yet?
Oh yeah,
in
no,
the
I got past that.
It was like what two panels?
Two panels. It's like really short.
Yeah, it took me like maybe 15 to get in and out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super short.
Yeah.
And
I didn't expect it to take that like thematic turn. Like, why are we getting kind of scary around here? Like, that's unexpected.
Those boss fights, well, the little floaty thing was annoying, but the final boss fight, the little phantom thing, that was fire. That was actually pretty fire.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Yeah, but I guess we're gonna talk about that in spoilers, the actual story section. But actually, I think it ended up kind of being very important to Aerith. We'll get.
That's how they set that up. Really.
Yeah.
It was really for Aerith.
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's our gameplay, me. Come on, cause I got something.
Let me get some water while I'm waiting, man.
Coming back. You coming back? I am. Somebody take you away.
Oh.
Got some ways in it.
Hello. Am I back? Can you hear me?
Back.
Yep.
Yeah,
I can hear you.
Okay. All right, but yeah, my internet just dropped out for some reason. I don't know why. That's probably good. Good little break time. Good little break moment.
No, I'll be right back.
Coconut.
So why are you using them?
You all know mas.
You want one?
No.
It look like
I was spraying stuff, but it's like
Hey, we held it what it was too, man. We ain't gonna know further.
Okay, cool. Got done.
them her wings.
Yeah, Remy hasn't played this at all, right?
Nope.
He has a very interesting perspective about the first one too. I don't think he likes it. I think it's too old-fashioned for him.
Great, he can be here. Yeah, if you don't like it, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, if you ain't like it, you ain't like it. Well,
He'll like this one though for sure. I don't see why he wouldn't like this one.
did he play? Did he play it when it came
I think he
out?
played some of the
It's-
first one, but not like too
Okay.
much. Yeah,
Okay. It depends on when you played it. Honestly.
that too.
Yeah.
That too. Yeah.
Now, you
'Cause
played
it's a
the
different world back then. Like
OG,
old school
like when it
RPGs are
came
not
out.
meant to be easy.
No, they're not.
They don't hold your hand at
And it
all.
wasn't. The internet wasn't out. You had to get the book, which I had.
Yep.
I still got the strategy guide. So it's like
Yep.
that's you had to go by that. You didn't have no
Yep.
internet.
There'd be
Crap, let me go
secrets in the
figure this
game
out.
that you just wouldn't know
Yeah.
about, like
You just wouldn't know
original
about
Knights of the Round. Like that's if you just got that by happenstance, you
it.
did a
No
lot
way.
of investigating. But that you're not supposed to
Like
know how that works.
getting a golden
No,
chocobo. I didn't do that. I had to look that up to see how do I make a golden chocobo. And that's the only way you can actually get it, unless you glitch into it.
Yep.
My first playthrough, I totally missed Yuffie. I didn't even have her in my party.
Wow.
When I saw
Yeah.
pictures of her online, I was like, "Who is that?" Then I seen Vincent. I was like, "What?" Like I missed two different party members. Like so, yeah, I had to go back the whole thing over.
Man, can y'all imagine like Yuffie and Vincent in the next game?
Like Vincent. Ooh, I mean, if he's a faster Barrett, that's probably what he would be. Yo, I don't even. But honestly, I think Vincent. This would be safe for later. But I'm just gonna say this.
This is safe for later. Yeah, I was about to say. I'm gonna say my prediction.
Yeah. Later. Yeah. I will say this about this game. I like how, because in the old game, my squad, pretty much the entirety of the game, was Tifa, Barrett, and Cloud. That's who I just ran with the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I like this game. It forces you to use different party members. I like that.
And like in logical ways too. Like it's like they're not in the party, but it's not like they're just like away. They're like completely somewhere else. Like like they're doing their own thing. The only time like where you kind of get that duality was like in the Shimmer building, where like Hojo is basically tormenting you, and you got to go through these different sections and have this boss fight that transpires between the two groups. And it was like, oh, okay, cool. I do think a really like if I had like a major con would be the materia system itself. Though okay, definitely needed like a profile or some type of like favorite system so you can just hot swap it into the other characters. Cause certain especially playing on hard mode now, like in the regular mode, it's not really as big of a deal, but in hard mode, after you've mastered a lot of your materia and you need it on certain people at certain times, when that person is out of your party, you just gotta manually unequip it and then do it all over again for whoever's coming in. So yeah, I do hope they have like loadouts in the next one. That was like my only thing that I like just kind of was like, I gotta do this all over again. But yeah, but really like hard mode in and of itself, man, it ain't no joke.
I haven't even tried it.
It makes you play
the hard mode. I'm losing to some goons. How am I losing to them? Like the flame regard or something. Shield guy. He was kicking my butt. I was like, what in the world? Yeah, it's tough for real.
You gotta focus on staggering. You gotta focus on MP management. Item like it's like you can't use items, right? So you can only use cure.
Yeah.
You can't cover MP.
At the benches they don't recover MP. So fam, like fighting the Hell House and you don't have enough MP to really like support yourself, it sucks. Like you have to like either restart or like do a lot of I think it's chakra, whichever material you can use that can kind of give you MP.
I think chakra.
Yeah, one of them should give you some MP back, but it's still kind of slow. Area helps out in that regard too, but still like that was a tough fight, man. That was a tough fight. BJ, you back? Is BJ here?
Back. Stall on us.
You say you want to get some water or thing?
Oh, okay, cool.
I said that.
Yeah, but man, I just want to say as far as gameplay, I'll save it. I'm
How
proud of
much did you
Square, man.
scream, Brandon? That's what I want to know. How much did you yell while you was playing this game?
Man, okay, so I'm married now.
Yeah,
So it was a lot of internal
it's
screaming.
different. Yeah.
It's, I can say when my chest collapsed was that last cutscene with Cloud Seven. God, oh my God, I was just folded, me. I was done. I was done.
Like the night I beat the game, y'all saw like in the Discord, it's like 4 o'clock in the morning during a weekday.
You gotta just sit there. It's one of them games you gotta stare at the credits and just be like,
you gotta watch it. You gotta watch it.
You gotta sit there and reflect.
Yeah.
Sit there and,
I was like, did I just play that? Like, I ain't just play that. Like, did I just play that?
15 years for that game.
Get your thoughts together and everything.
Yeah.
Them tomato for the mouth.
It was funny because like I beat the game before Maximilian, and I was like, that's like Final Fantasy VII is like his favorite game, so I was definitely like trying to watch him like play certain and even then like just watching people stream it just brought me so much joy because I was like, I just did this was amazing, I can't wait to go back and do it again, like, and then like hearing his reactions as someone who's like a dedicated, like this is one of my favorite games ever of all time, and seeing how impressed he was, because that was like definitely like the determining factor, like, okay, this ending is not, it ain't nowhere near close to what happened in the original game. So and yeah, like you definitely are left with like, okay, where are we going from here?
We're gonna get into that.
He ain't come back.
I knew. I can't talk about it, but I just knew. There's some things I just figured out. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. The game it lets you know.
Okay, I see where this is headed.
It was a scene, y'all. I can't remember what he said. I just remember how I felt at the time. Of all people, but he said something right before they crossed over. You remember that? Y'all remember that scene? They at the end of the game, Barrett, they had to cross into that other ram or whatever.
Oh yeah, when they went through the to the other side of the singularity. He said something. He was talking about Marlene.
But you can sort of what he said. You could pretty much apply it to the whole planet or something. I don't know, but it was dope. It was dope, man.
Whatever it was, they knew once they crossed over, we weren't gonna be the same. But he was
Yeah.
trying to keep their spirits up. Like, I'll be back. I'm gonna be back.
Yeah.
Oh man, God, we can't talk about that. God, man, we got
yeah, what are you doing?
Talk about the story.
Is he fetching water from the well?
He went to the well. He got to go to the cistern.
Y'all talking about me?
We are.
Look, I did not help the wife requested an action of me, and I committed to doing that.
Well, a man's duties must come first. As a husband, we understand.
So a happy wife, she's happy. Now, she over there.
All right, cool. So we can get back to it. So sorry for the interruption. My internet is ran by minions, and sometimes it does what it wants to do. But yeah, here we are again. So yeah, I think we did a very good canvassing of everything. We talked about our journey to it. We talked about the game itself, as far as mechanics, what we liked about the world, the environments, the battle system. Just so many good things. But
can I say real quick that battle system is straight excellent. It is. I love Kingdom Hearts. I'm a Kingdom Hearts fan, of course.
Yep.
But this feels like if you had Kingdom Hearts, but you could make it where Donald wasn't so dang worthless. Yo, this felt so great to be able to have a full team where you could do what you needed to do. And you gotta worry about if you failed, it was on you.
Kingdom Hearts and they gave you like full control. Like you could swap to Donald and Goofy. If you could swap to them, it would have been better. It's like it's like an advanced version. Like I don't think Square-Enix, they can't go back. This has to be the standard.
This is their best battle system that I think they ever made.
It is the best.
There's no way. They can't make another where you just control just one character. That's not going to be acceptable.
So what's crazy is that I honestly, and not to harp on 15 so much, but 15 just like it's a very awkward game. Though it's great, it you can just tell it's still a source of untapped potential, right?
Mm.
But man, I swear 15 was supposed to be like this. Like when you go back to those early trailers of 15, like where they showed Noctis going through the city and you were
Mhm.
swapping to his teammates and everything
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
Like
Mhm.
this was what that was supposed to be. Like
Mhm.
so I feel like
That one?
yeah, man, they just really paid attention
Yeah.
to like stuff that was
Yeah.
good and really trimmed the fat on a lot of stuff. Like it's not a bloaty system. It doesn't feel like it's slow. None of the characters feel unresponsive. Like unless you give them tank-like weapons. Like I know Barrett, he has like that wrecking ball one. He has a few of them where they're just like I think Big
They're
Bertha may be
melee.
the other one too. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're like mainly melee weapons. So he's like very lumbering. He's just
yeah.
slow. But like, man, dude, playing as Tifa and you're like putting in combos almost. It's
That
insane.
work.
Yes.
That work.
Yes. And when you figure it out and you be like, okay, I gotta do this to activate this to get the stagger up. Oh my
Yeah.
god, it just works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, once you stagger it or like
I
you
think
pressure an enemy and then you just start laying on them
I
with the
mean, the
moves that boost
intensity.
their stagger,
yeah,
oh, great.
They put an
yeah.
intensity into
I
it.
think
Like literally every time you started a battle, like you were on the edge of your seat. Like
Yeah.
it was
Yes.
an intensity about it, and I like that.
Yeah.
It never felt old. It always
Mm-mm,
felt good.
mm-mm,
Like it
mm-mm.
felt
You
good to play
find the
this game.
tomatoes right here?
I will say I share something that Max a million mentioned. That could be improved is the aerial combat. The aerial
Mhm.
combat is kind of wonky. If you're not playing as Barrett or Ares,
Areas.
like fighting in the air with Cloud or Tifa just feels weird. Like they
Mhm.
lock on to different things. I think that in terms of Square Enix, like Julian said, this is like the epitome. I feel like they took all their lessons learned and put them in this game. You see some 13 elements. You see a lot from Kingdom Hearts.
Mhm.
A lot from the old school Final Fantasy.
Mhm.
A lot of those things, like yeah. So definitely from now on, it's got to be like this. Like next Kingdom Hearts 4, under the disc, half copy, 65 days. We need to better switch to Donald and Goofy.
You talking
You
about
know what I'm saying?
Yozora? Yozora 4?
Zora,
Yeah,
whoever it's gonna be.
Yozora 4?
It's old
Kingdom
ass
Hearts below,
with
beneath,
Sora.
beyond, dark road, but it's sunny.
Man, yeah, no, playing with Cloud with the area stuff, it just was like, oh yeah, this is chugging. Like it's bad. But like even with Tifa in the air, if you knew how to put in some of your commands, like you still could stay up there for a little bit. But yeah, overall, like I do think that was the most undercooked part of the battle system. And I honestly I was trying to think to myself, like, what could they have done differently? And I don't know. I think it almost feels like there are other characters who are supposed to be in your party when you're doing this. And we know in the later games you have different characters coming in who are ranged. Like Yuffie can throw shurikens or Vincent has guns, you know what I'm saying? Who knows what Kate Sheaf can do, but anyway.
I don't know what's it for me.
Can we say that Kate
Okay.
Sheaf appears in this game for all of like 3 or 4 seconds and then like goes
Yes,
away
just to
completely?
tease you.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
Completely out,
Would you like to know how I felt about that?
But
Yes,
I liked
please.
it, but knowing, us two play the game, knowing who controls him, then I was like, all right,
I
I
hate
did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
I'm
hate
gonna be
Kate
honest,
Swift. I'm
as we start that, like when it's coming off of when the tower just falls and everything gets destroyed, and
Mhm.
it's like all of a sudden seeing a random cat just kind of walking out and like looking like
Yeah.
he's mad sad about this whole thing happening. I was so confused, and it's never brought up again.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
never brought up
yeah.
again.
Yeah, it was one of those now, like you have to know the story to realize who's controlling him. To be like, okay, I know why they did. I
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
like, okay, I know the old boy control.
Yeah.
So he had because they showed him like trying to convince them not to do it. So to see him, basically to see that happen as it falls down. So okay, I get it. I
Yeah.
understand. I understand. But it was random. I was like, okay, so y'all
Super
just trolling.
random. Yeah, for sure. Oh man.
That's so fun. I'm just not thinking about what Blue said. He said it's the first time you see some random cat.
This is a cat. Like, who is this person? And then he never comes back, like ever. No, he's not referenced. They don't meet him. He's not in an extra cutscene at the end of the game. Like, oh, it was fun. And he was like in such distress. Like, he's beating the ground. Like, he's mad.
Yeah. How they introduced Red 13 though, like, yeah, that was so cool.
Yes,
Lab rat dog,
so
man.
cool.
Lab rat dog.
Yeah.
So cool. That section was cool. I remember that from the first game and how they made that boss fight with Frankenstein monster pretty much. That was so cool.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, man. Some of the enemy designs just coming into real life, like how they are now, it's crazy. Like the fact that they just spent so much time and attention on not even reimagining them, because like when you go back to 7, like they're there. Like you it's hard to find these enemy types that aren't already present in the game. They're already there, but it's just like, oh no, they're really here now. Like I can see them up close and personal. One of the things like I like about this game, and I didn't really spend too much time in it, but it does have like a character viewer, right? Like can't you like, don't you in the bestiary like type thing where you scanning people, you're able to go back and look at the stuff.
Back and look at them. I didn't do it either. I really didn't do it.
Yeah, I'm surprised like they didn't have a photo mode for this game, to be honest. Like that seemed like something that would have been natural. And I never really tinkered with photo modes, but like man, oh man, like I said, I pause a lot to just take screenshots of certain things and everything. But yeah. But
with that Buster Sword. I busted sword the whole way through.
I busted the whole time?
Y'all, they busted the whole time.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
I did think some of the other weapon designs were pretty cool. I definitely was not loyal to the busted sword. I loved it, but like, man, some of them other weapons were really dope too. So I was definitely hot swapping a lot. But yeah. So
I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to your point right quick. Like the only reason why I didn't keep the Buster Sword, because like you said, if you once I was going for the platinum and you gotta basic upgrade the weapons, I didn't want to switch back and then redo my whole material slot. So I said, man, I might well just keep this. So like I said, if they would have did like a quick swap, I wouldn't say Buster Sword too.
Yeah.
It's the fact that crap, I done upgraded now. I don't feel like I'd rather play the game. I don't feel like pausing.
Yeah. Oh man, and like it has the weight of like, dude, like when you finish a battle and you just did like a super swag move, like you definitely like finished them on like Braver or something, and then like you just kind of just see him, like especially like in the arena, he does the classic throw around and then like the latch on the back. This is one of them goofy things where it's like as a kid, I always thought that was so cool, and it was like I still think that's really cool, man. I'm sorry.
They made it have weight though, because you remember when you go to your apartment as Cloud and he takes it off his back and he just put it down. It sounds dense.
It's just this big metal slab. I'm like, fam, this is the most unrealistic weapon ever.
Yes, it was.
Oh my gosh.
There's no way he can handle this. What is this?
Yeah, man. It's time. Man. It's time, man. So we've gone all around the world.
Okay.
How long we've been talking about this game, right? We need to talk about the story yet. Like that's amazing, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So yeah, man, we have this game that we know is Final Fantasy VII. They say it's a remake, so we're all approaching it as a remake. But
we ain't gonna get that
within the first hour of the game, things start happening that don't appear in the original. Yeah. So what was everyone's impressions of like some of the opening scenes of the alleyway with Sephiroth, the meeting of Aerith, and to take a page out of Maximilian's book, the plot ghost? Like, what did everyone think when they first started seeing these things happen?
Okay, who's gonna go first? I can go first.
Go ahead. He's been waiting.
All right. So initially, when it first started happening, I was like, okay, it's a remake. They finna add some stuff. I mean, the Cloud and Sephiroth thing has been going on for the longest. So I said, all right, they're gonna add that. Then they started doing a little ghost crap, and I was like, hold up, what is this? Then I was like, they were showing pieces where they were preventing things from happening. Then I was like, okay. Far as with the Maximilian thing, with his theories, I started to, what scene was that? But it was some scene in the slums where I started to figure out that, hold up, because they're deviating from, Cloud and them is trying to deviate from the original plot, and they just keep,
I know
they
exactly
want
what
them to
you're
keep on
talking
the
about.
same path. And I'm
Yeah.
like, hold up, I wonder.
It's when they were in Seventh Heaven, and we all know Cloud was supposed to go on this mission. Like it was never,
Yes.
it never
Yes.
was a doubt that Cloud was supposed to go with them.
Mm-hmm.
So then all of a sudden it starts sounding like, oh, he's just gonna go home.
Oh, yeah, he
So
goes
yeah.
home. And then he goes home, and then they go and try to make him dream, and try to basically make him wait so he can get on the mission. I'm like, hold up. So what is going on? And I'm gonna stop right there. I'm gonna let y'all keep going. I keep going. Like when I showed you in the Discord, I can deep dive like Kingdom Hearts.
Yes.
I can float away.
And when I was first playing through it, of course, you know, when Cloud sees Sephiroth in the alley, that didn't happen in the first one. I'm like, okay, like Julian, I was like, okay, they just adding some little flair just to make it a little bit new. And then you meet Aerith, and then it's like, that didn't happen either, right? Then you see these ghost things, right? I like that's some Kingdom Hearts organization type junk. I don't like
it.
Especially when Cloud woke up and Homeboy was like, sleep, sweetest dreams. I was like, you don't go on some of that Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
So, and then like Julian said, you see these things prevent things from happening, and then you fight them like they're enemies, and then the next moment it's like they're helping you. So it's like, what? And then pretty much by the time that you wake up with Cloud, and then Tifa sees them too, because remember, only Cloud and Air saw them at first, and interesting enough, Cloud didn't see him until he bumped into Air. So well, I guess that activated them. So yeah, I knew something was fishy. And that I'm like, I didn't know what it was, but I knew everybody knows that these things didn't belong in the original game. So yeah, that's when I was like, I'm getting mad suspicious.
Suspicious.
Go ahead. What's up? What you think's okay?
So it took me a little bit longer to catch on to it, because I noticed the ghost things too, and I'm like, okay. Initially, it was just annoying to me because I'm like, okay, this just seems like a plot convenience for like the longest. But then when it got to the church scene and they actually started helping, I was like, wait, hold on, something's different, something's off. And then I started like really thinking about it, and I'm like, hold on, something don't seem right at all. And it wasn't until like I came back to it, I just kind of put it off from that point forward. And it was like I forgot what scene it was, but I started really realizing that they were going in a whole new direction, and something else was up. This is not the game that was happening originally. And I was just like, yo, what's going on here? And then of course, as we get to close to the end, I'm just like, oh boy.
What about you, Jordan? Because like, again, without you having the most knowledge about 7 going into this, what were you thinking when you saw all this strange stuff kind of happening? Did you just assume it was normal, or?
So, like I said, I'm gonna try and give y'all a good view of how I felt at first. So I can tell you initially, I've always, just from Kingdom Hearts, I've always known that Cloud and Sephiroth have had like a thing, but I didn't quite know like the full extent of it. So when you first come into the game and you get to the part where Sephiroth is, I'm gonna be honest with you, that's one of the best openings I've ever had personally, because it made as someone who doesn't fully know Sephiroth's story and how they're related, like it gave me this fear and like this just feeling in your stomach, like this man is danger, and like there's something about him that's not right, but you also know he's like there's more to him. Like there's just like some type of evil brilliance with Sephiroth, and like that first whole sequence kind of encapsulates that to me, and it even gives you like a little bit of background because I think he touches maybe on his mother on Sephiroth being a part of like Cloud's mom dying or something. I still don't like you don't and at the time I didn't know that.
We didn't know. Like
exactly.
I don't think it
Wait,
was said
nobody knew
from
that?
I don't think from the first game it was known that Sephiroth had a hand in killing Cloud's mom. Like that's never been addressed before.
But
It was insinuated.
Yeah.
It was insinuated in the flashback, and you kind of
that Sephiroth did. In the old game, we just assumed she died, but in this game, it was like Sephiroth did that. Like he's the reason.
Like we know Nibelheim catches on fire. That's where like one of his most iconic shots is from.
Mm-hmm.
But
remember, it's insinuated that he caused it because he figured out who
Yeah.
he was.
yeah,
But
exactly.
they never
exactly.
really explained it. So it was open to your interpretation. Like, man, he must have burnt down everything because he found out who he was.
Mm-hmm.
But they never like I mean, obviously back then they never insinuated it.
Yeah.
I mean, they did insinuate, but they never confirmed it. They just, you know that he caused.
I wonder in the
just
sequel, are they gonna show it? That would be interesting.
I think next game we're definitely gonna get the full Nibelheim experience. Like we're gonna go there.
I got something to say with that too.
I don't know, man. I could see us playing as him just a little bit.
I was reading this.
Hey,
and
the
I'm
Brady
going
games.
through and I'm like, I get to that later. Because that's my. I don't know. It's just so much. It's so much places you need to go.
Yeah.
Like essential places, and it's like it's going to be at least a 3-part.
It's got to be 3.
I
definitely feel like it's gotta be a 3-parter.
Like, okay, you may do it in 2. Then I started looking back through the strategy. I said, oh my God, I forgot. You got to go to the canyon. You got to go to the city of the ancients. You got to, oh my God, you got to go through so much stuff. Oh my God. Then you didn't get to the weapons yet. Oh my God.
Nope.
Once they activate, I'm like,
and so it's interesting because like when you do the VR missions, you fight like I guess like a weapon prototype almost.
Yeah.
Because the trophies describe it as a weapon. I'm like, this don't really. We know this not the weapon. Like we know the weapons, but then when you go a little deeper, you start to see okay, like actually some of your gear, like that Bloodborne type stuff, where like your gear is representative of like the weapons themselves. Like it has like them like on it. That junk is crazy. But like I know for me, like the plot ghosts and everything, of course it was like, all right, this is strange, but for the most part, it's still Final Fantasy VII. And the way they placed the way they paced everything out, for as much as you would see them, man, it's like 3, 4, 5 hours down the road where they don't come up for a long time, and then they come back and you're like, oh yeah, y'all are here. That's strange because I will forget about them.
I'm kind of putting 2 and 2 together. That's when I started putting 2 and 2 together.
The first time it really hit me was like, I forget which exact scene, but there's a scene where Cloud has like this flash forward experience. And I was like, wait, what? Like, did they just, I was like, did they just
when it flashed forward a couple of times. Where Meteor actually killed everybody.
Yeah.
Oh crap, I get it. I know what's happening.
And I was like, so when that first happened, I was like, wait, how does he know that's going to happen? And then that was the first time I had like a whole, is this like an alternate timeline type thing? But then like, again, the game is so good and it makes you get so invested in what you're doing that 6 hours down the road, you've forgotten that happened. Like not in a bad way, but you're just like, oh, this game, I remember the nostalgia, everything is great.
How
then all of a sudden,
did it flash forward? Because I think it did it 3 times, right?
It's like 3 or 4 times.
It did 3. But it one gap like you talking about. It didn't happen again for a couple of hours, and you forgot.
Yeah.
And then it did it again. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
Cloud saw Future Vision, and then Aerith saw herself die. Like she didn't see herself die,
that's
but you see
what really clued me in when she
saw
saw
Yeah,
herself die.
when she saw herself die.
Yeah.
What's even interesting is after the train graveyard scene, I noticed Aerith starts acting way different,
Completely different
after that.
yeah.
She starts telling Cloud stuff like, "Don't fall in love with me." Like she's like, first she's like, after that she's all business. She's all business. Like she fighting. She's in her battle dialogue. She switches what she says. No, like she.
I want to talk on that too later on. It kind of goes into Maximilian's one of his wild plots.
Level 4. Yeah,
I think
which I thought about too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but especially, I think we all knew at the point where we knew that we probably figured it out by this point. But when Barrett got stabbed in the back by Sephiroth, we knew. I feel like that was the moment we like, okay, this is whack. Like something's up.
Yeah, I was like, something has gone completely left here.
I knew it. I knew before then.
Yeah, we probably.
It's certain things. It was certain thing with Aerith, which I figured out. But like I said, that goes into a level 4 Maximilian theory.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I can tell you straight up, when it comes to the plot goes, I didn't start getting that feeling like they were doing good until that point when they healed Barrett. Because I don't know this stuff. So it wasn't until then that I was like, okay, is there something else up with these ghosts? Because something ain't right here.
And so to that point, it was like, and they became like, if they were only maybe 10% of the beginning of the game, by the time you get to the ending, they are everywhere. Like they're flying around where you're doing final battles or what you think are final battles, like all around the Shinra building. And I'm like, are people just okay with this? Like, does no one else see this besides just us? And then
no one else sees.
Yeah, and then so then we get to the highway, and I'm thinking the game is about to end. So I'm like, yeah, man, made it to the highway. You know what I'm saying? We've all seen the key art where they're just all standing at the edge of the highway, and I'm like, that's the end of the first disc, basically. That's what they're gonna end it at. So I'm thinking this is it. So once you get to the singularity and Area just goes full Super Saiyan and starts going in a huge exposition, I was like, oh wait. And then Sephiroth is there already, and he's like talking to you too. I'm like, okay. And then he has control over them. And I was like, oh, okay. So now this is starting to make even more sense, because here it is where all of these actions leading up to this have been things to help these fall in place. And they kept focusing on the plot goals within those last few Shinra cutscenes to make you understand, like, yeah, no, the game is going to go like we want it to go. And then you step in through that singularity which I thought was like, all right, the game's ending. I don't know how this is the ending that they chose to do this. And then we start going into full on Kingdom Hearts. I was like, yo, what's up? Why are we fighting dude from Kingdom Hearts right now? Like,
well, I knew
And the two, you knew something was. We've been knew stuff was different when Barrett was healed. But when you see Zack not die, it was over with.
Yeah.
I was freaking out.
Yeah.
I was freaking out. Then I was like, okay, when Zack died,
that confirms my theory of what I had. I thought, they confirmed.
Yeah.
Well, also,
even before then. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say what also clued me in though was when you going through the Shinra building and Sephiroth was just walking around. Like he never did that in the OG game. You never even saw Sephiroth in the OG game in Shinra building. So I will say this though, when I saw that, I initially thought that they were gonna switch it up because remember in the OG game, when after everyone gets caught,
remember you only know that he kills the president. So it played it like because it was smart because they knew they couldn't. With just a PS4 game, you can add more stuff to it. So in the minds of people who played it, they would just add on filler. Like obviously, they probably could have showed this in the PS1 version. I mean, obviously he's going to walk around and eventually we know he's going to get to the
kill
president
the president.
and kill the president. So I just thought he just walking around just because. I didn't think no more of it until, like I said, what BJ was talking about, until they started adding more stuff. When you think of the total plot line, I'm like, hold up. it wasn't the fact that they just added on. This was never supposed to happen anyway. All
Yeah.
of this is filler because of what he's doing. So,
Yeah.
okay.
And
That makes
so
sense, yeah.
and so the biggest identifier I think for me, like even though the flash forwards were happening, I think the biggest one is the one that happens like in the Shinra building. And BJ kind of hinted at it earlier, but like when you're going through the VR stuff and it's showing you the city and everything, you go into this one room and it literally is just like, hey, we're Shinra Electric Company, blase, 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 blase. And then like by the end of it, it shifts to like Meteor, and like Meteor is happening and like they're in the room and then like it hits and you're like, wait, how did that just happen? Why do they know that this is happening? And then it just goes away. Like that just they just kind of freak out and walk away from that or whatever, right? Am I tripping? Like, am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah,
Like, doesn't
yeah,
that?
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
And so that's when I knew for sure. I was like, okay, something is weird. Like this is very strange, and they're doing stuff differently. But yeah, like once
And even in
yeah, go ahead.
the beginning with the alleyway, you knew stuff was different because it wasn't probably in the very beginning, but early in the game, Sephiroth is telling Cloud get stronger. Like he's encouraging him get stronger. You know, I need you and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, Sephiroth didn't do that in the first game. You know, actually, him and Cloud really from the first game,
They
they had
interact.
history.
Yeah.
They don't really interact that much. You know, Cloud looked up to him as a first class soldier. They didn't have this kind of relationship, so that clued me in too. I'm like, something's up.
Yeah.
Hey, can I ask a quick question? So, as far as the OG games, I know I've seen parts of it happen like a couple times when it comes to Cloud's little flashes. I know it doesn't have flash forwards in the OG game, but there have been times where it's like in the beginning at least, it almost mirrors what he does, where he has like a distressing moment thinking about Sephiroth. Like, how big of a part does that play, I guess, in the overall? Because I know how it relates in Remake, because it's used as like kind of like a warning system for Cloud because he's having these flashes forward. But I know when it comes to the OG, he doesn't do that. So it's like, is that still a big plot point, him having these moments?
So they're more related than they would like to think. At least Sephiroth knows it. Cloud doesn't at the time. And that's why, like, if you ever seen Advent Children, they don't really explain it very well, but they talk about this stuff called geostigma. And like these people who are infected and everything. And like on the highest level, basically Sephiroth has become like this virus that's infected people. And he can like take over folks' bodies and turn into them. Like he can turn them into Sephiroth if he wants to. And so a big portion of why Cloud and Sephiroth are linked is because of that simple fact that Cloud has that type of stuff in him and like in his cells. And
in the
Sephiroth can
OG
basically
version,
call them. Yeah.
So in the OG version, basically, that's what happened. Both of them has those cells in there. Something happened to Niflheim, and Cloud never made soldier. He was just old grunt dude.
Yeah,
that's a big twist. Like Cloud as
he took on the persona of Zack.
Exactly.
That was the only thing. And Sephiroth knew all about that. He knew everything.
So guys,
I mean, that just gets some more.
Correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we know that Cloud, as a soldier, got infused with Mako.
He did.
But I think the connection between him and Sephiroth is that, remember in the old game, Blue, you okay with us talking about the old game? I don't know if you're through with it.
Go ahead.
Okay.
In the old game, we have that flashback. I remember Cloud being put in one of those pods, and he got Genova cells put in him.
Yep.
In addition to Mako, that's why Cloud and Sephiroth are brothers in that sense, you know, and that's why if you've seen Advent Children, Kadash and his gang, who are like remnants of Sephiroth, they call Cloud brother, you know, because they also have Genova cells. So, and also in the old game, they pretty much chalk Cloud up to being like a knockoff Sephiroth, a failed Sephiroth clone.
A failed experiment.
So gotcha. That's their relationship. It's dope, man. Man,
I will say along those lines is that initially when you're going through the Shinra building, I initially thought what they were going to do is because in the OG version when you get captured and Cloud comes to, his cell is the only one that's open. And it's never explained how his cell got open. And then, of course, after you free everybody and you make it back to Shinra's office, you see Sephiroth's sword. And, of course, obviously it's implied that Sephiroth is the one that killed Shinra. And I thought, well, with this game, obviously that's not the case. But I thought initially when going through the Shinra building that what they were going to do is that they were going to flip it and make it to where somehow Sephiroth forces Cloud to turn into him. And he goes through and kills everybody, kills Shinra, and then goes back to his cell and then just wakes up back as Cloud again, not knowing what happened. Of course, obviously that's not what happened, but they didn't do it like that. That was what I initially thought. That's what I initially thought, but that's not what they did, obviously.
And you'll see like dude, when you're playing the original one, Cloud is gonna do some weird stuff. It's hard to really tell sometimes with like the way
Attack Aerith.
Yeah,
Attack Aerith. The original.
he's gonna try and kill like Aerith at certain points, and you're gonna be like, why is he trying to do that? But again, that's because Sephiroth has that extension. It's like that hallway scene where you're walking towards that elevator and to go to Hojo's lab or whatever, and like you basically can move the controller any type of way, but he's gonna keep going forward and hearing those thoughts. Like all of that is what happens in the first one, but it's just not explicitly expressed as best as possible, like it could be in this game. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's open it up, man. Let's talk about this ending, man.
About it. Okay, so the ending. So who want to go first?
So can I just say this one thing? I won't be long. Okay. I just want to say this one part. I've been waiting to tell Miguel. Go ahead. Me and Miguel was talking through text, and my mind was blown. I said, Mig, this man, this dude nice of around. And Mig was like, yes. Then Mig said something that it blew my mind even more. He blocked it, and I was like, oh my God.
Oh no! You talking about when he did Omni Slash? Yeah, at the end he did Omni Slash.
Omni Slash. Sephiroth blocked all of them. The only reason why he could block all of them is because he done been hit with it before, and
he done felt that pain before.
Alright, so and going into that, these are some of the things that I knew. I knew that Sephiroth was from the future. I knew what confirmed it for me when you saw the Arbingers of Fate and what Maximilian said. When you fight those three guys, I knew they was from Advent Children. I said, that confirmed it. That
blew my mind because at first I definitely thought they were just like the regular people.
Oh my God, that is Advent. Okay, that
man. Yeah,
I knew.
I thought it was buried.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah, that's what I thought initially. I thought they were buried.
The only reason why I had that theory because I knew that this Sephiroth knows. Another level 4 theory of Maximilian was he said that Aerith is also from the future as well.
Yeah.
Remember when he won his level? Yep. I think that too. I think from the point when she died, one of his theories like when she died in the original,
and she came back in the live stream.
She came back in the live stream.
What we thought was the end of the game with her lifting up her head and everything was actually her coming back.
Was actually the beginning. Was actually the beginning of this day. So and the only reason why I confirmed that because sometimes when Sephiroth was talking, they looked like that they knew each other. Like both of them knew what was going on.
Yep.
And it wasn't until the graveyard where she finally accepted what she had to do. Like she's like, I know I died the first time. Maybe we can change it, with the ghost people. Well, after the graveyard, she knew that okay, I'm gonna have to die. I'm gonna have to do this all over again. And especially when at the end, when they finally named them as the Harbingers of Fate, that kind of sealed the deal too. It's like, okay, so they trying to keep the original story alive because Sephiroth somehow came back, which they don't explain, but somehow he was able to come back from Advent Children.
And see, I didn't catch that it was Advent Children Sephiroth literally until you beat the Arbiter or Fate or Harbinger's Revenge or whatever, and like it takes you into this place where you're like, wait. I've seen these buildings been sliced before. Like
Mhm.
I've watched this movie
Yep.
enough to
Yep.
know
Yep.
that some of
You
these
know.
things are happening.
You know
And
that.
so when you get Cloud and them like kind of just jumping off the building, fam, when you land on the ground
Yeah.
and y'all start fighting, I was like, no, I like dropped the controller. I was like, yo, no, I'm not playing this right now. Like,
So what
this is
happened
not
to
happening
you?
right now.
He
This is
said,
not
"Man, all
happening.
my dudes."
I'm like, what are they doing? Like, how is this
What
possible?
they doing?
So yeah, nah, like at that point I knew for sure. I was like, okay, so this is Advent Children Sephiroth. There's no doubts about that. He is coming back. Like he knows
So
everything that's happened and he's trying to make this different. That junk was crazy.
So to that point, I know, and I think it was the Easy Allies one that they had for this.
With Max, yeah.
Yeah. Wait, no. It wasn't Easy Allies. It was what was that other podcast he did? He did another. Well, Max did another podcast with somebody else, and there was this dude. I can't remember his name, but he was just as into this stuff as Max was, and he brought up this little like short passage that one of the writers for OG Final Fantasy VII had made before Advent Children came out, but he made it as a way of like bridging the gap of Aerith and Sephiroth. Yeah, what happened to both of them like in that time, and he brings up that Sephiroth when I learned about that, I kind of looked at that final boss with Sephiroth a little differently. Because what's one way to learn about yourself? If you don't fought somebody before, you're going to remember what happened. And that's going to jog some memories of that first battle that you had. So, like, even when y'all brought up him blocking the Omni Slash, like, what if, like, Sephiroth had that whole fight just to remember something of how they fought originally? And so when that Omni Slash happened, he was like, no, let me go ahead and block this because I remember it.
I agree.
So it's I think,
but because remember he kept teasing Cloud throughout the whole game. Right when you realize that he's from the future, he could have had plenty of time to kill. And he did not want Aerith to die, and he knew that this time Aerith can't die this time, and he knew that he needs, which they don't explain, that he needs Cloud for something. He knows that his original plot for Meter is not going to work this time.
Well, he uses the plot ghost to actually control the story. Like for what we thought, like I had the assumption just like everyone else. I think the most obvious thing was that these are the developers actually just kind of like saying to the fans, get over it. We're gonna make this different. Like like come along for this ride. We're gonna take you on a journey, and it's gonna be different. But then when you start to realize, okay, no, so even if you go back to Advent Children, there are hints that Sephiroth has control over these things because like he can turn the whole sky dark, and he does the same thing in this game.
Yeah.
So he brings around the plot ghost, and yeah, go ahead.
But and remember, if you play it again, he didn't have control over them in the beginning. Remember, they were strictly there just to
keep everything straight.
timeline.
Yeah.
But once it got toward the end of the game, whatever was happening, which I don't know how they're going to explain that, but somehow he either didn't have the power as he did in Advent Children, or he just refused to use it. Like
I think it was more a refusal to use it. Yeah.
He needed, So I go with that plot too, and I'm thinking he needed the original cast members to do the original thing.
Exact same thing. Yep. He needed them to do the exact same thing.
And then, all right, let me use my power.
But check this out, y'all. I remember talking to BJ about this, and BJ brought up a good point because what Blue is probably seeing right now in his OG playthrough. Y'all know the remnants guys in Remake. See your next door neighbor. They were in the old games, and Sephiroth could become. And so I feel like his new end game here, amongst his other plans, is to make Cloud into his next form.
Yep.
Because in the first game, he failed to do that, but that's why in this one he's telling Cloud to get stronger. He's trying to build up he's trying to
Make
build
him
up
investment,
Cloud.
yeah.
You know, 'cause right now, Sephiroth, he is. I don't think he has a real body. Like he's a part of the live stream. So we know that, you know, so he needs an actual physical body. But I think another cool point was we talked about pretty much foresights, right? Y'all remember in Remake, Cloud saw the end. I'm sorry, the beginning of Advent Children with Red 13 running in the barren desert. Right? And pretty much what we learned from this game is that that's kind of the bad ending.
That's the bad ending, yeah. Because they said Nojima, I think Nojima even said that
because it's going to happen again.
Right. He says no humans exist 500 years into the future.
They all die.
Yeah.
Yeah, they all
and
died off.
geostigma comes and it does wipe them out, and soon enough everyone dies. So pretty much, yeah, like this is crazy.
And so that to me, what's interesting about that is because so Advent Children, Sephiroth, even though Cloud beats him, he still talks that cockiness. Like he still says, "I'll be back." Like I'll never be a memory. You know what I'm saying?
I'll never be a memory.
So him saying that is interesting because like what happened that still caused this 500 years down the line to happen.
And on that reason, I think Aerith knows what's happening too, and that's why I think
she has
for some reason Aerith and Sephiroth came back even after those years, 5 years. For those two, they came back.
Because before you enter the final battle, she talks to him so different.
Yeah.
She's like he should not exist. Like like he is pure evil. He should not be here. So she definitely something transitions, and I don't know. It's funny because I think about it in two ways. Like half of me thinks that she possibly knew the whole game and just played kind of ditzy for the majority of the game. And then the other half of me is like when she got up to a certain point and like, you know, the planet talks to her. So she's like in her little flower garden listening. And then next thing you know, something changes. And that's when it becomes something that happens. I don't know exactly what would have been the thing that would have switched it for her, which is why I think she might have been playing it off the whole time until she revealed it.
So can I say it real quick? Going back to the passage that he brought up, I think that's why to me it was so important to read that and to hear him talk about it, because like to sum up what it says is that after both of them of course died, like their physical bodies, they were in the live stream obviously. But it talks about how Aerith, how she was in the live stream, she was still conscious of Sephiroth doing all of this extra stuff. Like she was conscious of his geostigma and him doing his
because
will.
even in Advent Children, she pops up and she's helping.
Yeah,
exactly.
And so I think that when Aerith is talking to the Earth, I think at some point, like future Aerith just realized this was going on a little bit too far. Stuff's getting a little bit too dangerous. He's changing things that don't need to be changed. And I think future Aerith might have fed past Aerith or current Aerith that we've got right now a little bit of information or all the information.
Yeah, and so that's the thing. Like, so Arya's death now has way more meaning. It already was impactful just for her dying in the first place, but now it's like when she dies, what actually happened? Like, because they have at the ending of the game, you know, her awakening in the live stream or whatever like that, and she helps the planet out at the end of the first game. But now it's like, is that the single moment where she transitioned and she flips back? Yeah, like what happens when she sees all these events happen and then she goes back?
And remember too, before you go into the singularity. Okay, go ahead.
I was just saying, in the old games, could it be then that, you know, after Aerith dies in the old games, you continue the adventure and fight Sephiroth? In the grand scheme of things, in terms of that story, it's lost. You know what I'm saying?
I think she knew. She lived through that lifetime and she saw from the live stream that y'all don't win. So I got to go back.
That plot's not going to work.
For it to be different, for it to be any different, you got. I think there's only two things that can happen: Aerith stays alive, or you find a way to separate Sephiroth from the live stream.
Exactly. That's the goal. I think that's the goal.
It's gonna keep on doing this. It's gonna keep on repeating.
It's a cycle now. Yeah, at this point, it's a cycle.
We know now that just killing Sephiroth isn't enough. So there has to be a different end game.
And for me, I think the plot changed for a third time when you got to the end. So in the beginning, I think Eric knew was just playing dumb. Then it gets to that second end when you get to the train graveyard. She finally accepts her fate. She realizes what she has to do and telling Cloud automatically, don't fall in love with me. But then again, remember at the end, once Sephiroth goes through the singularity, she pauses again
Yep.
and tells them,
That's
like,
when she
once
becomes
we
the
go
full
through
area.
here,
Yeah.
once we go through
Everything
here,
is different.
I don't even know what's going to happen. I know that I died the first time, and I know I have to go through this again. But Sephiroth has changed stuff so much to the point that once we go through here, I don't know what's going to happen. So
it's
to
weird
me,
because
like I said, when this happened, it sounded like in the part in Infinity Wars when Hulk went to the Ancient One and basically showed like what happened. That's basically what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, once
Yeah.
he went back. So it's curious to see, like I said, it's just curious to see that because, like I said, it looks like it's like at least 3 different timelines that's happening.
They don't
So they
even
keep
hint at that. Like if you spend all your affinity like talking to Tifa or Barrett, you do not get that scene with Aerith where she talks about do not fall in love with me. Like I spent that night with Tifa at first, and it was like, you know, just a different, they just friends or whatever trying to comfort each other. But man, when I went back and I saw that scene and she was like, do not fall in love with me, I was like, oh, she knew then. Like she already knew at that point in time. Cause he already was trying to fall for her. That's always been the thing. Like, you know, even though Cloud and Aerith have been cool, I mean Cloud and Tifa have been cool, he really liked Aerith. So yeah, I thought that was
because
like kind of
remember in the
masterfully
OG
done,
game,
honestly.
in the OG game, she just died. They just
Yeah.
had a good time and she just died. But
Yeah.
this time it was different because she specifically told him, you do not fall in love with me because I'm gonna have to die. But then, like I said, it looked like she switched again once they got to the singularity.
So
And
what do
she
you think the
realized
Zack
that
timeline is for? Cause Zack in and of himself is a whole different timeline now.
Yeah. It was a whole different reality. If there's a Zack,
it looks
there's
like
a Zack, there is no Cloud in that reality.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so
Cloud
it
just
looks
chilling.
like when he defeated Sephiroth, because remember, which we don't know too. Remember when they was walking toward Midgard was lined up. So I don't know, man. I don't.
And Zack couldn't see it.
That's one of the
So like,
mysteries. Yeah, Zack couldn't see it, but we
So
did.
I really,
So I
really
don't.
want to know what happens with that. Like, cause
with
honestly, now with him existing, like you said, Brandon, like there's a reality where Cloud does not become the Cloud that we know. Zack is the Cloud that we know.
Remember, too, Zack is the first man Aerith fell in love with. Remember that?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think another, and maybe that me, I don't know, but another interesting note is who mentioned his first interaction with Cloud and Sephiroth, Kingdom Hearts, right? And in the end of this game, when Cloud and Sephiroth are standing on what I think is meteor, I don't know what they're standing on in space or whatever. Instead of saying
that's the edge of creation. So that's like,
when they're standing there, Sephiroth says something different that he wants to do than in Advent Children. Because in Advent Children, he said, I want to accommodate this planet and I want to just go. Well, I guess he wants the same thing, but could it be that, I mean, could they tie Kingdom Hearts in this? I'm just wondering because, you know, in Kingdom Hearts, in the first one, when we meet him, Cloud is hunting for Sephiroth.
Yeah.
That he has a different appearance, and not only that, but in Kingdom Hearts is when we first see Winged Sephiroth. It's if I'm not mistaken.
One-Winged Angel, yeah.
No, yeah. So I'm like, they trying to do
it. Well, he always was One-Winged Angel. He always was One-Winged Angel, but he didn't get the black wing. I don't know.
Black until Kingdom Hearts.
Advent Children could have been the one that gave it to it, or it could have been
Crisis Core.
It could.
Let me look at his picture in Kingdom Hearts. Let me see.
I will say,
like, I don't think the city would be something that would be real or anything like that, but definitely Kingdom Hearts possibly. I don't know.
I think there's some elements to it.
Nomura, I mean,
it's Nomura's baby now.
Nomura taps into detail because
am I going to get Sora in my Final Fantasy VII too?
That's not happening, bro.
Please, no.
But
hold up.
Hey man, because Kingdom Hearts is going places right now.
Secret into the Kingdom Hearts 3. Do not be surprised if this fool ends up in part 2, like he
Yeah.
was don't end up. He'll
That's
and it'll just be
that's Kingdom
it'll
Hearts
just be a
Sephiroth.
little.
Mm-hmm.
This is
I'm
Kingdom
talking about
Hearts 1.
Sora
Right.
will be
What
in
year did
part 2.
Advent Children come out?
Don't be
Oh
surprised.
yeah, you know, Advent. Let's figure this out. Advent Children released 2005.
Just for the record though, in Kingdom Hearts 2, it is brought up like their relationship, because I remember them saying, "Oh, he's like my other half." I know Cloud was talking about Sephiroth. It's like that's my other half.
Mhm.
So I think there's a lot of elements from Kingdom Hearts for sure that carry
Oh
over.
wait, he said that.
Yeah,
He said he's
it's
half.
like they did it. They kept it in the Kingdom Hearts theme where it was like light and dark. So it was talking about, oh,
Yeah.
Sephiroth is like my
Yeah,
dark
it was.
half.
Yeah.
I'm like the.
Mhm.
I guess they were
Yeah.
insinuating that this is the bad version, like the heartless version of him, whereas Cloud is kind of like the good guy kind of thing. It wasn't. It's not
Yeah,
super
but dude,
super
I mean,
expounded on, but
that could be the solution because, like we said, you can't just kill Sephiroth. It's not enough. You know what I mean?
And he's now a Dominion.
Maybe. Yeah, and so maybe the solution it is I think at least what my own theory was is that instead of Aerith 9, Cloud dies. He enters the live stream, and for an eternity, he's there to battle Sephiroth over and over again. That's how I feel. That would be dope. I'm sorry, that would be dope. But that's just my theory. What y'all think?
So,
what y'all think?
but
To me,
Dude,
Aerith
being
has to die.
I
She's
think
gonna
what
die
you
again.
said. I don't think so. I don't think she
You don't
can't
think
die.
so?
It can't happen again. If
can't happen
Sephiroth,
again.
like you said, Sephiroth and Aerith is part of the life stream. For some reason, they keep coming back. Somehow Sephiroth found the way to. They won't. I mean, obviously we don't know, but he found the way to come back after having children. You thought he was gone, but he said it. I'll be a memory. I mean, and we just always thought like that would just, it just a person would never forget that they fought him. He literally meant like I got
would
an
never
ace
be
up
a
my
memory.
sleeve. I'm finna
Yeah.
go back and redo this. I know what I did wrong, and I'm finna do it. And as a response, Aerith came back as well. But this time, like she said, once he had that controlled over fate. Because like I said, the Arbiter, the little big dude, he's called the Arbiter of Fate.
Yeah.
So you literally have to fight fate. You have to fight destiny.
You gotta
and you
defy
beat it.
fate. Which
You
has been
gotta
like
defy fate.
the theme of the
Like,
past 3 like Kingdom
Yeah.
well, not Kingdom Hearts, but Final Fantasy games. Because like it definitely gave me Final Fantasy 13 vibes where like you gotta fight like
Yeah.
the
You gotta
sea
fight
and
your
everything
destiny.
like that. You gotta
Yeah.
fight your
You
destiny.
got to fight your destiny.
But yeah, so I really do think so. I just don't know how they would do it without areas
I
dying.
think Cloud gonna have to die. I think he's
Oh man, y'all going to some
for
places.
some reason we know what we do know is he needs Cloud for some reason. He can't
for
just
sure.
kill him. He literally wants him to get stronger for some reason. He won't attack. He didn't even attack.
So do y'all think
He
Zack
never
is gonna
attacked
become a
Aerith.
protagonist? Like Zack is gonna come back and be like the
Or Cloud dies.
I
Zack
think
takes
Cloud
his
gonna
place.
die.
yeah.
Yep. I think
I
you
mean,
got to
I mean,
revolt switch because
something
you have to
different happened.
because you have to realize that too. Remember, he's from the future, so if Sephiroth from the future, I could have either went back to Midgard that first night and literally took both of them out, DN, and achieve my plans. But he knew
And that's the thing, we
that
don't
can't
know his
happen.
real end game. Because I mean, he always talked about controlling the planet and being able to go and just do stuff, right? That's what Genova did. So he always wanted to follow in the footsteps of his mother. But it seems interesting that we don't really know his true motivations at this point in time, besides what he says. But we already know from his actions what he says isn't necessarily always exactly what he means. Also, something that I know this may be kind of memey at this point in time, but like there as much as people can try to deny it, like the creators have said, there for sure is a direct link between the history of Final Fantasy VII and the game that is Final Fantasy X. So, do y'all think that will ever come into play or fruition or go any deeper than what it has? Because I mean, they hint that Shinra could be the one. The Shinra from Final Fantasy X is the one that started the Shinra company once they reached this planet, and we don't really know much about the
That's
Cetra at all either, too. So
Yeah. I mean, that's cool, man. But I don't know. But that's what the genius with this game is. It's so wide open. It's so they can literally go anywhere with this jump.
that's what's so
Like
beautiful
they
about
could
it.
go
Like
there.
I as much as I
They
know
can
about the
go
series, like I have no idea what can happen next. And I
wide open.
And I like that. I'm glad they
Yeah.
did it because it welcomes. It's smart because it welcomes a lot of people, from the OG people and from the people who just getting into it. So now, because none of us know, like we know enough history to know that if you played the OG and you played Crisis Core, you played even the Vincent one. None of that. We know
There's
that this
servers,
Sephiroth, none of that can happen. If
Yeah.
that happens, it's just a loop.
It's gonna repeat
We're
the
in a
same
time
thing,
loop
yeah.
right now. It's gonna repeat the same cycle. We're gonna come back to right here. So
And they already
something,
broke the cycle. They've broken the cycle.
yeah.
So yeah, like we're just
So
this
now
is
they've
all
broken
new
the
territory
cycle,
at this
and
point.
In the
it
next
looks like
game,
when
those units shouldn't
when
be there. The ghosts, flat ghosts,
no
they
no
shouldn't
They're
be
no
there.
that's
done.
over.
They should be
That's over
done.
now.
Yeah,
It's
you
over.
It's over.
destroyed them.
So
Yeah.
So what Max said that I thought was interesting is that when they come out of that singularity, what realm are they in? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because
What
are they in the
timeline are
one
they
that
in then?
are they in the one with
Well,
Zack survived? Are they in the
no,
one with
they're not.
Jack?
They're
Nah,
not.
because they
They're
remember
not. Because
Zach walked
remember,
past Aerith and they don't
Zach
see each
walked
other, but they
past
kind of
and
feel each other.
Arab knew.
Yeah.
Arab knew. Then like, oh crap, we in something new.
So I think
We
that's her
are in another
backup plan. I
timeline.
think that's the backup strategy. Whatever this Zach universe is like I don't. Who knows if Sephiroth knows about it? But at this point, it's like that could be maybe their plan B, like the one that they keep in the tuck. Because now, like you have so many things happening. There are gonna be repeats of characters who we thought have died. Like we thought Jesse died in this game. Jesse could definitely be back. You know, by the time you get the Golden Saucer, or
Golden Saucer.
even though
Yeah.
we spent a lot of
Right.
time
That's
talking
right.
about future
Yep.
Sephiroth. Where is the Sephiroth in this universe? We have not met him yet, as far as we can tell, right? So
Well,
there is another. So now we have three. If we have three timelines, we could have three Sephiroths. We could have three different Clouds. We could have three different Zacks. One Zack is dead. We know
Well,
for
like I
sure.
said, we know we got two clouds now. We know we got two
Yeah,
clouds. We got the
yeah,
cloud that in Zach's timeline because both of them walked by
Yeah.
arrows and she knew
yes,
that they was alive in another timeline.
yes.
So like I said, I agree.
I
That's an
think
ace in the hole for some reason.
that's what I was gonna say. I think Zack is the ace. Just think about it. This Sephiroth that we know that's jacking up stuff, he doesn't know about Zack. He doesn't know about Zack being alive.
Zack was
He doesn't
already
know that
dead.
happened.
Yeah,
No, but I'm talking about in that other timeline. He doesn't know about that.
that's what I'm
Zack.
saying. Like he doesn't know about that. Yeah. So if he
So I
doesn't,
mean,
and then you get to a situation where you're all saying like either Cloud dies and Zack comes in and
Cloud-
replaces him, or even
So-
more so if Sephiroth takes
So
over Cloud fully. Like say when he gets the black materia and he fully becomes the new Sephiroth at that point in time, then you
I
have
think what's
Zack
gonna
come
happen,
in and
what's gonna happen is Sephiroth is gonna him and Cloud's gonna fight, right? And then Cloud's gonna beat Sephiroth. Sephiroth is gonna take the mind of Yuffie. Yuffie's gonna grab a golf club and beat the mess out of Cloud.
Now, hold on. Now,
there are levels.
here's another
Yeah,
thing to
that
think
was
about,
good.
though. Here's another thing to think about, though.
So here's my theory too, because it looks like Sephiroth wanted you to defy fate. He doesn't fight you until after you defeat fate. So that
Right.
was to obviously to unlock destiny. Basically, you beat
His
that
whole
now,
thing
I'm
is about
free.
these 7
I
seconds.
needed, I needed you to defeat. I needed you to come to singularity because I wanted you to defy fate. Because for some reason too, he couldn't do it. Like he could have done that too, but he wanted specifically Cloud and the team
He needed them to do
defy
that.
fate.
Yeah.
So he need them to do that. But like I said, I think the ace in the hole is like you saying. What he didn't account for was the ramifications of him breaking destiny, because all of a sudden, like you said, Jesse survives. Basically, Team Avalanche, they're alive.
Yeah.
And then too, now you got Zack. He didn't die. He actually took out the Shinra team and survived. And we know that Arif keeps that hidden. She doesn't say that. She just feels it and keeps
She
and
feels
keeps
that
it
Zack's
moving.
there. Yeah.
Because she knows, like, okay, I'm gonna keep this in my pocket because just in case something goes bad, I got another timeline to depend on.
And okay, so and now if you
Well,
remember
hold on.
Advent Children 2, Zach was in the live stream too, bro. Like remember
was.
when
Yeah.
remember when they
Yeah.
had that whole conversation? Like it
Yeah.
was both Zach and Ariel. So this can make perfect sense that they've been planning this to come back and have this as a strategy.
Like,
Now,
if
here's
Zach
one
come
other
back
thing.
and
what you
Go
got,
ahead, BJ. Go ahead.
No, I was saying one other thing though is that this also is a ace in the hole for Sephiroth too. Cloud wasn't the only one experimented on by Professor Hojo. Zach was too. He also had the Genova cells.
That's right. That's right. That's right. Because I was just about to say the only thing that makes it different.
So that's an ace in the hole for Sephiroth too.
I think that my end game totally is that I think all of them has to die. Because the only thing I was talking to somebody else. I said,
Okay. No. But this is good though because
the Genova cells is messing up. Genova mixed with the live stream. The Mako is creating is the factor. You have to take out that bloodline. Everybody, I think if you die with Genova cells and you go into the live stream, you have certain capabilities that the others don't have.
you remain
well, I don't know because at the same time at the end of Advent Children when she used the live stream to heal everyone, they should have been straight. As far as we know, everyone still died though. So everyone still died though. But no, okay. But even then, to your point though, so like there was an interview that Max brought up. I re-listened to this podcast they did today, and he was saying that Kitase and Nojima's the writer for the original game. And Nomura, he helped with certain things, but he wasn't the writer like he was helping out in this capacity. But they initially wanted to kill everyone except 3 people, which makes kind of certain sense in the sense of like an in-game situation where like unfortunately some people will have to die and like so it is one of those situations where, like if they're not going to kill areas, right, if they don't kill areas, you have to replace that emotional impact because that's one of the pivotal moments of gaming. Like you can't just like not do it and let us be okay with it. Like unfortunately they are going to have to hurt us in that regard.
Well remember in the VR scene that they'd have when they're in the Shinra building, Cloud sees Sephiroth kill everybody while Meteor's happening. So we know Sephiroth may at some point try to do that or will do that in an effort to get an emotional reaction or put Cloud in an emotional certain
situation. Yeah. Like I said, I still think with all that said and done, both of them, everybody that has Genova cells is going to have to die to reset everybody to come back. Even if he does that, Cloud would. Let's say part 3, he actually killed everybody. It's just him and Sephiroth in there. I think that Cloud gonna still have to sacrifice himself and bring everybody back.
So okay, the only thing I disagree with this, and the only reason why I disagree with this is because what you're saying is the exact plot to Kingdom Hearts 3. That's what's crazy.
It's the moral though.
It's the moral. And the moral said in the interview, he said reason why he put remake in it is a remake, and he said the other reason he can't reveal to you yet why is it called Final Fantasy VII Remake. And I think
we know because so that's why we looked at the trailer too though, because like it talks about it not necessarily being we as fans are thinking remake. Oh God, they're gonna remaster the game. It's gonna be different. But he's like, no. We're remaking the universe. This is Sephiroth coming in and saying, I'm remaking what you knew to be right. Like Sephiroth is the one freaking with us directly. Like you thought this game was gonna go exactly how you thought it was supposed to go. It's not, and I'm gonna show you that it's not gonna be the same game. So yeah.
When it comes to the scene with Aerith being killed, pretty much, our theory is true that Aerith is conscious. Future Aerith somehow is back in her past body, right? And past conscious.
Yeah.
No, okay, this is the point where Sephiroth's gonna come down and kill me, right? You know, if she gets them to avoid to do that, she could also die by means of Cloud because Sephiroth take that vision of Sephiroth killing everybody and then Sephiroth.
Yes, but I'm gonna rebuttal that because only thing that I can for some reason he doesn't want Cloud or Aerith to die. For some reason, because he had plenty of time. You go back and he had plenty of time to do that. And even in the flash forward, he doesn't do that until he doesn't take everybody out until Meteor. So we know at least if he plans to do that, he's not gonna take everybody out until he gets the Meteor plan into action. So for some reason, we know that
You need Aerith and Cloud to do something.
So here's the question.
Her plan for Holy ain't gonna work. He know if he kills her right then and there, it's Holy still comes and Meteor happens and Holy counteracts that. I can't kill her at the ancient temple no more. That won't work no more.
Yeah.
I can't kill her now. I can't even kill her beforehand either. I have to wait at least until Meteor's down. So that means I got to keep her alive at least to the end of the OG
game.
Final Fantasy VII. I have to at least keep her alive to the end.
So do you think it's him showing us the flash forwards? Like, do you think when you're seeing, because you see the final flash forward, I think at the end of the fight with the Harbingers, where they showed like the Red 13 stuff, and at that point, that's where really everyone kind of comes to their full senses. And I also wonder too, if that point is that where everyone's consciousness from the first game kind of transitions over, and they all understand exactly what happened.
Now, to me, that's my question for me, because I thought that it was just originally as he beating up the Harbinger of Fate, they're just showing him the alternate things that's happening that will happen. And they're because they're looking confused, like, what the heck am I seeing? I'm thinking like they're showing him this, but showing you
because Red 13 literally says, but he says Red 13 says this is the future that will come like tomorrow or something if we don't stop this today or something like that.
If we fail.
So it's like, so we don't beat the Harbingers, this is what's going to happen. So they continue to fight, and the Harbingers showing them, all right, now I'm just letting you know, even though you defeat me, this is the original timeline. Now after you defeat me, no one has a clue of what's going to happen. Everything's up for grabs.
So everybody by the end of this game, everybody knows what's up.
Well, that's the thing. Does everybody know? Does Yuffie and Vincent know? Like, Yuffie and Vincent, will they know too?
When you're fighting the three remnants with Kadash and the other two, like no matter what character you're hitting them with or whatever, that flashback, I think that's hitting all the party. That's just me. I think that's hitting all.
Oh yeah, I think everyone sees it. Doesn't it shoot something through?
No one knows. But like I said, no one knows what's happening. But Aerith is the only one that knows what that means. Because remember, every time they do the plot points, everybody else talking like they're confused. Aerith is the only one that knows.
The only one that seems like somewhat close to her level is Red 13. And even then, he's not 100%. But again, we kind of skipped all over this. But like, they haven't seen Bugenhagen yet, and he's probably gonna know exactly what's gonna happen too. So once we get the Cosmo Canyon, like that's gonna open up a lot of stuff, I think, too.
Yeah.
Because he's the first person that introduces the whole timey-wimey stuff in the first game. He starts talking about space, and Final Fantasy VII starts off with the shot of space, and I don't think this game does that. Like with this game, it starts just like zooming in on the planet, right? Like isn't it just going over like the desert stuff? It starts in the sky. I can't remember.
It starts in the sky. In the sky.
To Midgard.
And I agree with you. That's why when I read the strategy guide, and I said, I forgot Bugenhagen. That's why I believe that. Like I said, it's the Genova cells. Wherever she came from, that is what's messing up everything.
He's gonna know the reason why like stuff is happening. Like Bugenhagen is gonna be, and not necessarily the reason, but he'll be able to give some context to I think current Sephiroth's motivations, because we don't really know.
If Aerith lives to that point and they get to that point, if Aerith gets to that point, she can explain to him like, "Hey, this is what's happening. I came back. Sephiroth came back. What do you know? What is Genova? What is that capable of?"
Yeah.
Basically, if I die, Julian, I think you hit it right on the head, man. Because the whole problem here, we saying the whole problem here is Sephiroth. But really, the whole problem here is really Genova herself.
For sure.
Because the reason why the planet is rejecting all of this stuff is because of Genova, really.
Yeah.
So, like, because the planet they live on and the planet they live on kind of has a mind of their own. So, what if they took the fight to wherever Genova is. You know, like, do the other planets in this universe have a life stream, or is the life stream just to this planet?
So, but that's the thing. Okay, so that's why I'm saying with Final
in the
Fantasy
OG
X though.
Game, remember what was the weapons created from the Earth? Because remember, only thing they wasn't created the weapon. The weapon wasn't created to stop meteor. It's a Cloud had to go back and get holy to stop that. The planet themselves created weapons for a whole nother reason. So that's why I'm saying it has to do something with the Genova cells.
This is so freaking cool. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah. Remember, the weapon wasn't created to stop meteor. I think it was. I think we're gonna find out. I think they're here to stop Genova. I think that was because one of them was made. They went straight to Shinra, and that's when they were trying to use the big ray gun crap to try to destroy.
To blow stuff. Yeah.
I think that in the remake you're going to find out that was the weapon was created for, to stop Genova. All that crap from happening.
So that would be really dope because and I was gonna say too, because I mean I know the Final Fantasy X stuff kind of gets slept on, but if you remember, if you've played Final Fantasy X, like when you die, you go back to like the far plane, and like that's what they explain, like the whole far plane and the faith and all that type of stuff are basically the precursors to the life stream. So when they landed on that planet, I know it sounds crazy, but if those adventurers landed on that planet and they're the ones that cause the life stream, like you say, is it unique to this one planet? No, right? So if other elements in the universe could be something that attribute to that, like you have stuff like sin and everything from the original Final Fantasy X, and sin was on a cycle. Sin always came back, right? Like Jet was just like the vessel for sin for a while, and then once you defeat sin, after a while he comes back. Now, I don't know if Sin and Sephiroth can be related in any type of manner because I still don't understand what the implications could be between how Genova really was officially created. We don't really know any of her backstory except it's just like an alien presence. But
that's what we know though.
Yeah,
that's what we need.
That's
the missing page, because all we know is that she came in a meteor, right?
Yep, she came on a meteor.
Which was
It came from space. That's why the first one started from space.
It used to be a planet, because that's what Frost said. He said, having children, said, I want to commandeer this planet and travel the cosmos as in my mother.
Yeah.
Whatever planet that was, we don't know what planet it was that Genova took over, you know? Oh, this is,
what if Genova is a byproduct of 10? That's what what if that's the
That's what I want. I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to say it. But what if, bro? Like what if something happened in 10 where these people went to a planet and took it over and everything, but something happened with the far plane on the planet that they left, and it became this entity or something was summoned from it, and it became Genova, and it guided them to try and go back to the life stream.
We don't know what happened exactly to the ancients.
We don't know a lot about
they
at all.
Yeah.
Disappeared. So did they build if they built the weapons, that's fine, but still, what did they build the weapons for? You know, so I feel like in this world that they exist with 7, even when you go through the Shinra building, it's a lot of history left out. They just say once upon a time it was the ancients, and then they disappeared.
This thing has been around for thousands.
Well, isn't it implied that the ancients aren't native to this planet? They came.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Were they running from Genova?
That's what I'm saying. Again, because the Shinra dude from 10 is the Shinra dude in the picture. Like that's confirmed.
So if it's implied were they running and they came here and just like, we're gonna make our final stand? That's why we built the weapon, or at least lay down the groundwork for the weapon to be built.
Yeah. It's so crazy because you can build off of this story in both directions. Like you have a full prequel scenario where you can, for the first time ever, link 2 Final Fantasies together and make it make sense. And then you have this whole future where we don't know what's going to happen, and we still don't know why Sephiroth wants to do what he wants to do. We don't know what his full end game is, except to just stay alive at this point.
But what if it? I mean, this is a far shot, but what if he tries to resurrect Genova? You know what I'm saying? Like, and think about it. He's wholly unique because unlike Aerith was just an ancient one. But Sephiroth is more than that. He's got the ancient one blood, and he's like
Genova.
I think he's Genova too. No, I forget. No, because in the original one, a scientist impregnated. He has a father. He has a human father.
Yeah, but a full-blooded ancient is his mother.
Hey, real quick.
Remember, Sephiroth is the full-blooded ancient, and they just put Genova cells in. Like I said, the Genova cells was implanted in him, and that's what drove him crazy. He's like, "Why am I so special? Not only are you ancient, but you got this crap in you too." And he goes ballistic. Because man, he goes crazy.
What's going on, Jordan?
So real quick, before I get into, I guess later on I might get into my radical theory because I don't know all of this stuff, so I just went off of just stuff that I know. But before that, to y'all's point about the ancients kind of running from Genova, I don't know if y'all remember, and I'm looking it up right now on YouTube. When they were in the entertainment center and they give you the history of the ancients. There it says right here, 2,000 years ago, a meteor brought an end to their civilization. And if with what y'all are saying about Genova having come from a meteor, what if that was Genova?
What if that was Genova
coming after them? So I don't know if that works out at all. I'll just bringing that up in there.
It's tough, man. Because even when Sephiroth does meteor at the end of the game, the whole point is what is he doing? He's bringing some type of space body through all these planets. You know, he's like destroying the universe in the process just to come land on you and the team or whatever. So those are like the only two factors. And like when you go to like the edge of creation and you do the Omni Slash and you defeat him in the game, or like in this game where they go and talk basically, and he mentions the 7 seconds, like those are the only times where space is really brought up. Everything else is really kept very mysterious about why space is the most important thing, but it really is. Like the whole thing about a lot of the reasons why certain stuff happens in this game is because of stuff that happens completely outside of this world.
Mm-hmm.
What if they can link all the Final Fantasy?
Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that. Just don't do that.
No, but I'm saying, because think about it.
What if this is the
Final Fantasy?
What if this is the universal? This is 16.
Can I see the homie Squall though? Is that possible? Let me see Squall.
Hey man, Gunplay Squall.
What if the universe?
I mean, Ultimisha is all about time. To be honest,
what if that's happening?
8 is all about time.
But think about the original Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII was made when Squaresoft at the time, that was like their last. Well, no, I'm sorry. The first Final Fantasy was their last hurrah. Like that's what they called it, Final Fantasy, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if this remakes the entire thing? You know what I'm saying? Because like each Final Fantasy have things in common. Like Noctis can throw Fira, you know, so can Lightning. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like little stuff like that. So like, are they?
I mean, they're all related to the crystal for the first 6 games are all related to the crystal, and you have 13. You have 13 and 15 that are all related to like the crystal as well. 12. No, 12. I forget. Ivalice is all tied to a crystal too. I mean, I think they've already tried to go that way with Dissidia. It's goofy because it's not canon, but they try to tie stuff together to make excuses as to why they're together. I don't really know. I feel like for sure 10 and 7 are legit like created, like are linked by the creator.
Are linked together.
Yeah, I mean like those.
13 and 15 are all
13,
15, and 13 Type 0. All of those are.
I wouldn't be surprised if they got it just like with the Legend of Zelda, like they got a big timeline.
Yeah.
And I think that the universe in Final Fantasy, they kind of do it like the universe resets itself. Something happens and the universe resets itself, and then that's that era of Final Fantasy.
And then they call it Final Heart. They call it Final Heart because you know why? Kingdom Hearts was one. Kingdom Hearts been the chosen.
one of your biggest ones is, you ever know, like they always trying to destroy all the civilization. no matter what goes on in each Final Fantasy, something that they don't want. It's only one that the guy actually, the little clown dude, he actually did it.
Kefka,
And then
yeah, he
you
did
get to
it.
fight. Yeah, he actually did it, and you have to fight him outside of time and space, which eerily looks similar to the thing that Kiefer did, and it eerily looks similar to what Sephiroth and Cloud was talking about. That's
okay,
if
we really go into this, because this like space level 79, bro.
If you go
this
back
crazy.
to Final Fantasy, it's eerie.
Julian is implying that there's like some kind of Ganon from Zelda curse. It's just going through all these different lands.
But
it's gonna be
because
somebody.
like if y'all really think that the line
ends
between
to the edge of creation, I think that edge of creation is the center. Of
well, even then, besides that, like if y'all really think
you
that
only see
the
it
parallel
twice.
universe Sephiroth, like from other franchises, like say for instance Kingdom Hearts Sephiroth, who is like, I mean, like they both disappeared at the end of KH2, like, and even in KH3 in the Remind DLC, Cloud's not present. Like I think Sora asked about Cloud, but they say he's out right now or something like that. So you don't necessarily know where they are. But if there is a link between supposedly this Sephiroth and the one from Advent Children and the one that's present in this game that we haven't seen yet, the one that we saw previously, or whatever, like that would be very interesting because he's a dimensional being at this point. He can go back in time.
Okay,
right?
So this my level 10 theory. This is my level 10 theory. What if all this is because Sephiroth became self-aware of his existence? Like he realized, like, I'm just another Final Fantasy character. Because like I said, the only one that Kiefer did it, and you have to fight him in that Final Fantasy at like an edge of creation type place, because he actually destroys everything. Somehow you survive. I forgot the whole plot, but you have to fight him eerily similar to the same place where Cloud and Sephiroth was talking, this edge of creation where everything starts, to basically bring everybody back, because after Kiefer destroyed everything. So you have to defeat him to reset everything. So what if Sephiroth just became self-aware where he's at? He's like, I'm not gonna end up like Final Fantasy 8. I'm gonna I ain't gonna end up like 10, 11, 13. I'm not gonna end up where everybody's headed. I'm gonna change.
He's gonna try to escape the game, Julian. He gonna try to, like, once you beat the game, your disc ejects out of your console. That would freak me out.
They gotta bring in Yoko Taro to do that. Like if they're gonna go that crazy with it, like that's like near
It's only a few games that do that to you, that switch up the narrative. Like I said, that Final Fantasy where Kiefer actually succeeds.
Yeah,
you know, you got your
and you still play the game afterwards. Yeah, that's crazy.
Psycho Mantis, and you got to figure out to put your controller in the second slot.
Remember that?
Oh Lord Jesus!
No, even though, like if you think about 13-2, like 13-2 again. Well, 13 was kind of by itself okay, but like 13-2, all about time. Lightning Returns, all about time. But 13-2
defying fate too.
Yeah, Defying Fate for sure. But like 13-2, like with that dude, I forget his name. Is it like Callus or something? Or I could be confusing him with someone else. Calum. But he's the dude who he fights you basically the whole game, and then even like in the secret ending, like you still don't win. At the end of that game, like you don't win.
You don't win.
Yeah.
That's the whole
so
point.
it could be a situation like that where like I mean if we really gonna go high level like that, like you say, a lot of the major in-game villains of Final Fantasy all take you to a place, with the exception of maybe like 12. I don't necessarily know much about 9. That's the only one that I really didn't delve too deep into. I know Ultimisha is kind of timey-wimey, but Kefka, you have him. Even if you go back to like 3s and 4s and stuff, some of these folks, like they take you to like higher points.
Fight him somewhere else.
Yeah.
Not of Earth.
Yeah, even like with Arden and Noctis, it's the same thing.
Noctis, yeah. Remember, you
Yeah.
had to fight him.
So y'all saying
like
No, it's something crazy about the Knights of the Round too. Like the Knights of the Round is like they actually existed or something. I gotta look it up right quick. Hold on.
I mean, y'all saying that pretty much, yeah, it's like a Zelda thing. Every generation that is a reincarnation of these two goods and evils. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So if this one a remake, they breaking singularities and stuff. We fight Sephiroth, and then I don't know.
So my level 10 theory that Sephiroth doesn't want to be reincarnated anymore. I think he became self-aware. He's like, nope, I'm not doing this. I'm not following the same cycle. I'm not going to die and be the end. Final Fantasy VIII happens. We're going to stop at 7. That's why he said he only got 7 seconds.
Look, that's what I'm saying, because that's why I feel like Cloud has to die. Join the live stream. He's gonna forever fight Sephiroth to keep him from coming back. And you gonna see a scene where he fighting him. Then you can see Noctis fighting Arden and jump. Noctis gonna look over his shoulder.
Like literally they do like a little like they fighting and they actually like fight through different Final Fantasies. Like they're breaking planes of existence and they're fighting through each of them. Ooh, that'd be gangster. That'd be gangster. Right
so gangster.
All I need to see is, I mean, if there's like some type of way that if Titus comes up in Final Fantasy VII, I'm gonna freak out, dog.
Like let's say like he messed up the Titus so bad that literally other characters from other Final Fantasy start appearing in their world and they don't know how they got there. Then that's gonna confirm everything.
Infinity War.
I mean, when you think about it though, even though behind all the crystals, they always have the same summons. You always have a Bahamut for every Final Fantasy game. You always have a Shiva. You always have a Ifrit.
Why do they explain that? Like, why do you think all of this is happening? Why do you think everybody has the same?
Because they say to themselves, we can't go to Final Fantasy 20. That would be impossible. So we got to remake 7, and it's got to be the conclusion. That's gonna be crazy.
Or like
you know what? That's gonna be the last one though.
You said what?
It's not gonna be the last one.
I don't think it's gonna be the last one, but it kind of explains why each Final Fantasy has to happen. It explains to you why it has to happen.
So Sephiroth is the cause of the Final Fantasy cycle.
Yeah, but maybe
he's the vehicle for all Final Fantasies.
Final, like maybe but what if they for real last one we just called Final Fantasy like the first one? Boy. Crazy.
Like so they make so okay, let's say for instance they end on like I think I'll be dead by the time 20 come out. But like say for instance they end on like 19 or something, and they say so for 19, whatever the setting for that game is dope, but it kind of leads into where they leave it off at. They pick up on the actual first game. So they remake the original Final Fantasy game, and it is like it's like that's how the series ends on a remake of the first one, but you have all 20 games or whatever to kind of lead up to it and understand all the differences. That would be some serious retconning though, because like I don't think these games are meant to ever be like that. But that would be crazy though. The attempt would be interesting. All I would say is for sure with this game, for sure they've proven to me that they know how to tell great stories once more. I think there was a time where like they definitely fell off if you look at their individual games or even some of the mainline games like 15. Like 15 should have been a lot better as far as the story. Like I remember when BJ was first telling me about like when he was telling me about like the cave and like the Pitios dungeon and everything, and it's like they tell you the story in these statues of the elementals and everything. I'm like, fam, if they would have just explained this a little better, I would have understood everything. But yeah, they really are taking their time with 7, and I think, man, we have so much more to see, and yeah, just a simple conversation with Bugenhagen could change our whole dynamic of these characters and what they're about to do.
Let me ask y'all this, because I think I'm gonna go sleep for service. Anyway, let me ask y'all this: what do y'all think? Because it's gonna entail story-wise in the second game. This is gonna be a trilogy. So what do y'all think gonna? Yeah, I think it's gonna be a trilogy too. But what do y'all think is gonna be in the second game? That's gonna
Golden Saucer. We gotta go to Palm. We gotta go to Cosmo Canyon. We gotta see Golden Saucer.
I think it's going to end. I don't know how much, but I think it's going to end. We're going to have to fight a weapon at the end. That's gonna be like one of the end balls.
Yeah.
I can see that.
Because
definitely fight more backstory for the weapons.
So we know the original plot points, but story wise, we don't know what Sephiroth and Aerith need the team to accomplish. Now that we done enter in this
and I don't know if
timeline,
Cloud needs to forget his memories.
Do he need his memory back?
Yeah.
Do Era still needs to pray for Holy? Do she needs to do that now? Because we kind of, like I said, we get the sense that the typical meteor bringing it down is not going to work. And I think she recognizes, I think everybody else recognizes that Sephiroth, we know he's from the future, and the first thing we always ask, a villain, why don't the villain just come back in time and just kill the hero right then and there? Why doesn't he just do that?
What's the point?
So obviously he need them alive for something.
7 seconds to the end.
7 seconds, man.
7 seconds to the he need at least 7
what
seconds.
I think,
so we don't.
Yeah, and what I think too, as far as the second game, I feel like it's gonna have to take that Final Fantasy 15 approach, but done better. Because we know that once you put in that second disc 2 on the PS1, it became pretty much sort of like an open world type deal, you know.
For sure.
So that's what I'm thinking they're gonna do, and I hope with the battle system they give you like a swap out option, so you know, you can just tag in, tag out people. That'd be pretty cool, I thought. But yeah, I think I agree with Julian. I think you're gonna fight a weapon, and probably soon after you get to the City of Ancients, where the big thing happens, whatever happens there, you know, it's gonna leave you on cliffhanger. And the third game in this franchise, I think the old like for part 2, I feel like we still have to hit similar familiar events just because they still want to give us the nostalgia, you know what I'm saying? Of going to these places. But I think by the third game in the series, all bets are off. I think in the third game, it's just gonna be whatever happens, it happens, you know. Shoot.
So yeah, that's the thing.
For all we know, in the second game, could get us. It's a possibility. It'll be rushing things. It's a possibility that this second game could get us to when we go to that where Sephiroth is in that volcano. I can't remember where it was.
Yeah, and you can't get in. And it's stopped right there.
And that third game is that third game. All bets are off, player.
So you're saying so basically in part 2, at basically what we would have thought would have been the approach to the ending of the original game, and then you start part 3 by basically playing out the original ending, and then it's like everything else is open from there, like because either the original ending just does not happen, or you get up to a certain point within the fight and then it switches over and then you do different stuff from that point on. I don't know.
I know I've been ragging on Last of Us 2. I know. One thing that was interesting that they did was Abby. I don't like Abby, but if Abby was a secret character, you just played with her, that would be that. I agree with you, Nick. That would have been crazy. So if you did, imagine they took that same thing, the third one, right? Cloud sacrifices himself. Then you play the rest of the game as Zack. That will blow people's minds.
No, I think what will blow people's minds, I think what will be craziest is if you get to play a game, whether it be a full game or if you just get to play like a bit or bits and pieces of his story. And I think
no, my thing is honest. I think Zach gonna be at the end of the game, gonna be part of the party.
Yeah, he has to
gonna combine it. He's gonna be a part of the party.
Either they doing a dual Omni Slash or
I think that at the end of the game it's gonna be Sephiroth
versus Cloud and Zack.
And Cloud.
Yeah, I do think so
all
too.
of them got the same thing. All of them gonna have to go. I think that is the thing. That is just my last thing.
Am I making this up? But doesn't Vincent use Zack's body or something to exist? Something? Am I confusing that? Vincent's
I didn't play Dirge Server, so I don't know. I know Dirge Server is pretty freaky.
Vincent is his own character, and you find him as a special character in a coffin. He was initially dead from an experiment, though. That was way remember, but Zack has nothing to do with anyone else's body. He was his own body. He was originally a bodyguard for Professor Hojo.
Technically,
he used his body to animate Vincent. That's why I was confused. I remember reading something about that. I'm not. Blue, when you play that section, let us know. I forget because
I feel like certain things we just don't have to go through again. Like for loving to see Cloud in a wheelchair falling down into like the center of the earth,
I
like
have to see that. I have to.
I just feel like Hojo kind of ruined the whole thing. He was like, "Soldier, you never in Soldier." Like he just kind of already outed that, and that's like one of the biggest things for someone who,
That was a big reveal.
yeah, you know, if
Yeah.
you never played the game before, like Blue, I'm sure you didn't really understand it, but like again, like in the first game, like your whole thing with Cloud is dope because he was from Soldier, and that's what he tells everyone. To the point that you think he's kind of crazy, that's all he can talk about, and then you find out, oh, like those aren't his memories. Like he is kind of crazy. So yeah, I don't know. Like again, that's why I'm trying to understand. Like if the people who we're dealing with now at the end of the game, do they all know? Because they know about certain events that do happen in the future. If they don't know everything, that's understandable. It seems like Arieth is the only one that knows everything. Like I said, Red
I
13
think,
be the one that
and what
closely follows up. But if Cloud and them knew already, then I don't think that would have to happen. So maybe it won't be just like that. I do think, like I said, the most pivotal point of 2 is the apex of that game is going to be you meeting up with Bugenhagen, and then from there, like it's going to be that's where your sense of direction and purpose will come from.
brought up an interesting point with BJ's favorite character, the dude on the hot ride.
Roche? Oh yeah,
Because
Roche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
dude
The
on
way
the the
Maximilian
crazy.
had his whole theory about Roche was crazy. I think I
Yeah,
wanted to
I
do
love
exactly
that.
what he
He's
said.
pretty much gonna
Yeah.
show the degradation of the soldier's mind because you already see him. He's like, "Wah, ha, ha," doing all this stuff, and also, his mom in this game says that soldiers don't live long.
Yeah.
So I think that's a hint that I think Cloud is gonna die, and I feel like if they handle this right, I feel like it can be just as impactful as Aerith's death. That's how I feel like.
So do y'all want me to get my radical theory, or did you want to go, BJ?
Nah, go ahead.
No,
All
go
right.
ahead. I'll settle for after you.
All right, so I guess because I haven't finished OG, and at this point, the most that I know as far as Final Fantasy VII goes is Crisis Core, and then stuff in Remake. So my look is gonna be a tad bit different. So I'm gonna just be honest with you now. But the way I see it is, I think that we have two constants in this game that are always gonna be elements, and that's Aerith and that's Sephiroth. I think both of them are aware, and of course Red 13. But Red 13 seems like he's an important character, but not as important as them.
Sure, for sure.
And I think that those two are now aware of what they need to do or how things are supposed to go, so they're going to be enacting their own thing. But honestly, I think the key to it all, to me, is Cloud, because Cloud has been a catalyst for a lot of things, whether it's good or bad. Like, even from what I've heard about the first game and certain events, I know that Cloud is kind of not a great person. He's a very unreliable narrator. He's someone that can be manipulated incredibly easy. Granted, Sephiroth is a great manipulator, but he's still manipulated either way. So I think there needs to be a point where Cloud either needs to be out of the picture, like y'all are saying, and I think it could lead up to him having to die at the end, or there needs to be a point where he fully becomes complete as a person. Because at the end of Crisis Core, we see him basically take over Zack's place. So he's living the life of Zack, but he's not Zack though. So I think that in a lot of ways that makes him susceptible to being manipulated. So I think, honestly, Zack's going to come in to kind of balance Cloud out. Because as far as we've seen from Cloud's personality, the closest person that he's had to a good friend up to where we are now is Zack.
Yeah.
Zack was his good friend. They related to each other on certain things. So I think Zack is going to be used to balance out Cloud in some way. And then maybe in that culmination at the end, where it is Zack and Cloud fighting Sephiroth, I think there's going to be a point where Sephiroth is going to get killed, but then Cloud also realizes that he's going to have to go with him. And I think Zack is going to be the one left behind. And I think it's going to be an easier choice to make because Cloud will be a complete person. He won't be as broken. He won't be as there won't be this big mystery about who he is anymore. He'll know at that point, I have to take the lead and I'm going to have to You know, like you said, it could just be him battling Sephiroth forever. But I think it comes down to Cloud having to make certain different decisions than he did in the original. Because if Cloud keeps being the same person, I think Sephiroth is trying to make him stronger and trying to groom him so that he can manipulate him to an even harder extent than he did in the first one.
For sure. Yeah.
To an extent where he's like a non-factor. To almost the point where it's like, oh yeah, I'm still gonna kill Aerith, because I think Aerith still might die, and I think that still is gonna happen. Where maybe Sephiroth starts to show him visions of Aerith's death, and
for sure.
and in a way to motivate Cloud. Oh, you can save her. Hey, Cloud, you can stop this from happening. This is supposed to happen, but I think he's gonna try to kill her anyway, and it may happen just so he can break Cloud further. Where
he's
he
gonna
becomes
make Cloud kill Aerith, bro. Like
I think that could happen too. Where it can break him.
That's the biggest thing that can change all of it.
Exactly. Imagine, because if he does that, that could break Cloud to the point where he doesn't even want to go after Sephiroth anymore.
And that's why you have wheelchairs. That's how you do the wheelchair scene again. Like that, he's broken. So he's like a little dummy, just sitting in the chair, is kind of mindless and everything like that. And then you give room for Zack to come in, and you play the game as him for then on. And then of course, like Cloud will come back. We know this, but yeah, I do find it interesting too. Like this game does a lot of things in threes, right? Like we have the Advent Children. There's 3 of them. We have the original trifecta: Cloud, Tifa, Barrett. You have Cloud, Arius, and Sephiroth being some of the main characters. I think it is something to say for who are the 3 people who technically, besides Sephiroth, are the one who knows about what happens 500 years into the future. Besides Sephiroth, the 2 people that I can think of are Arieth and Zack, again from Advent Children, being both present in the live stream. And who was there 500 years into the future running with his kids? Red 13. So I do feel like all 3 of them will be very pivotal characters. Like they're building up so that a lot of people who we thought are just kind of okay are now all of a sudden like the biggest people in this series, who isn't just Cloud or Sephiroth. Like I think Red 13 will be mainly like huge into his importance, because he's gonna know, like I said, certain things. If he gets visions from the future and he can say, all right, I know about this future is like the worst timeline basically, and the events that led up to it. Aries has already been through it. She sent herself back. Why can't he send himself back to her? Why can't she help him to send himself back? And why can't all 3 of them have been people who've been coordinating this attack to like as a response to Sephiroth? Again, like the whole thing with Zack, that scene between Zack and Aerith walking past each other, it's very similar to the one in Advent Children, where they kind of both smirk. You don't see their whole face, but they kind of just smirk at each other, acknowledging their presence, right? Or in their conversation in Advent Children in the Cloud. But then in this game, it's like they walk past each other and they both do that little thing again. And so it's like, who else was present during the same time frame as to how they could have both come back? Like this could be the Zack from Advent Children. He could be goofy just like Aerith was at the beginning of this game, and then all of a sudden turn around and be like, oh no, I'm Zack from the future and I know everything. Like, you know, like a whole future Trunks timeline or something like that. So I just think that Red 13 could be a part of that too. And again, I think that's why that whole discussion when they get back to Cosmo Canyon can change a lot of things on his head if they really already have a plan and we just are going to be along for the ride for it. So I don't know. I do think the stuff with Cloud will happen too, though, because like you all say, like Sephiroth could have Cloud or Zack as the ace in the hole. I think Zack probably supersedes that just because he's always been. They've never really corrupted Zack, and that could be the thing that happens in this next game. But I do think with Cloud, since you say like Jordan was saying, like, you know, he's easily influenced and manipulated. He could be the impetus to change things. Like if the group sees Cloud as the killer of Area, is there still a group now? Like, is there still the same Avalanche dynamic? Does Barrett trust Cloud? Does Yuffie trust Cloud? You know what I'm saying? Like when they know, Vincent knows about the Cetra to an extent, so he knows like deeper knowledge. So again, like if you change Cloud into the villain, a la like a Xehanort Xemnas type thing or whatever, then yeah, how does his dynamic change with the whole group? And is he a redeemable character at that point? Because again, like, you know, that was the death of Area is like the biggest thing that's happened in gaming. So yeah, placing that on Cloud, that would be a very interesting thing to see. I do think that's how you break the character down all the way emotionally. But where you pick up the pieces after that, I have no idea what you would do.
Yeah. I don't know. It's gonna be crazy.
Mm.
It's gonna
I
hurt
don't
so
know.
good. It's
I
gonna be like
think
Infinity War. It's gonna hurt so good, bro.
it's I think even in the original game, this is a side note, but even in the original game, I was picking up some hints that there's something special about Marlene. This is totally theoretical, but even in this game, Marlene is treated differently. I don't know. She's a side
The moment with
character.
Aerith, when Aerith come back to
Dominant.
get her at Seventh Heaven, they have some interaction, and she like changes.
She do.
Remember,
And not only that,
that's what I'm saying. She
can
knew
sense something out of
yeah,
she can sense something out of Aerith.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, it goes back both ways. So there could be something there too, you know, like so. Man, yeah. This is
man.
BJ. What
This
you
is
think,
dope.
man?
And you figure also, I mean, Marlene never got the geostigma in Advent Children.
She didn't.
She did.
She never
Everyone,
got it.
all the other kids were getting it. She never got it.
Right, she didn't. I ain't think of that.
She spent the most time with Aerith. If you remember, at the end of Advent Children, she's with Aerith, and they're praying with the flowers and everything like
And
that.
she's the one that says that she said, "Bring you here, and you'll come back."
Yes.
Yep.
So does
Yeah, and
Marlene have
that's
some sort of special connection to the live stream?
And two, that's how I knew that Aerith was new, because she was adamant of going to get Marlene from Seventh Heaven. Like she knew like she was going to survive. She wasn't going to die like everybody else thought she would. She said, no, she's not gonna die. Because then I knew that she knows, because she knew she was gonna be an Advent Children. This had to be an Aerith who's aware of the whole timeline.
Yeah. I mean, this is an area that's lived through. She's been around through Advent Children.
She knew that Marlene
there are no
was
secrets for her.
There's no secret.
Marlene is an angel.
I was thinking that maybe she's.
So what if this? So what if this? What if Marlene is Aerith's ace in the hole, not Cloud?
Could be.
Remember, even all the way up until the end, Aerith didn't want to go through the singularity.
She didn't, because she, like I said, because she knew that if she goes through that, she don't even know what's gonna happen.
All bets were off.
She don't even know.
So she didn't want to place her trust in Cloud to go through the singularity. But what if Marlene is her ace in the hole, not Cloud? And Cloud is what is.
Let's go for that theory. What if then, and what BJ saying is correct, what if then that Marlene has to take Aerith's place and all of them have? What if all of them have to be white, clean slate?
Or we could take that, Julian.
All of them have to go.
Or we could take that, or if she knows that Marlene, let's say Aerith has some knowledge that Marlene is the ancient one, she has a special connection with the planet, maybe then she can accept her death knowing that we give this new role to Marlene, and we get a time jump, and pretty much we have our new Aerith in a role that's Marlene. That would be dope. Think about
doesn't Marlene wear a hair tie too, just like Aerith?
Yeah, think about it. They did in 15. When they did that time jump. What if they did that in the third game? And then you got an older Marlene. You know what I'm saying?
She could be the new Aerith, bro. She could be the new Aerith. Like, all we can know, Aerith could pass her holy, and they both have the same style of hair, so she could hide
There's one other major thing though, because Sephiroth, while yes, he could have killed Cloud in the early game, he could have killed everyone in the early game, but he chooses not to for some strange reason. However, there's one overarching thing, is that we know after playing the OG game that Aerith has Holy with her the entire time.
She did.
If Holy is the biggest threat to Sephiroth's meteor, he could have took it right then and there. Why does he choose not to?
What I'm saying, because he doesn't want. That's not going to work.
That's not his biggest thing.
Yeah, he doesn't want to do meteor anymore. There's another thing going on entirely.
He does.
He has a different plan.
He has a different plan.
We have no idea.
And with that in mind, that's why I said when the Harbingers were showing you the vision, that wasn't the vision of the future that's going to happen for them. They were showing them what could have happened, what was going to happen.
This is
But
this is what
because
would
you're
have
doing
happened,
this,
yeah, if we would have did everything the exact
but
same way.
because you're doing
Yeah.
this is not gonna happen. So
God, and
it's
this is
it's
why I feel like this game, score-wise, is game of the year.
It's
I'm
amazing.
sorry, like
Yeah.
there's no topping.
Yeah.
There's no topping
There's
that.
no
no
contest. There's no
possibility.
contest.
No.
It might be
Not
game
even-
of the generation, bro. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like it
If they pull this off right, this could
even
could
if
be
they
one of the
don't, even if they don't, the fact that this game is the fact that they've remade Final Fantasy VII and it almost received pretty much universal praise, to me that's a win. Like
'Cause
they may mess up after this, and unfortunately that's the L we'll have to take. But like nothing can take away those moments of like, man, those first few hours of playing this game and finally understanding, like, oh man, like even from the demo, like just from playing a demo, I was stunned. I was like, they did it. Like, is this real? So yeah, man. Like, I just feel like right now they are at a point where they really could. They could take this wherever they want to go, and now I'm just along for the ride. And I'm a diehard fan, so it's not like I feel disrespected that they're changing the story. I want them to, and I never would have said before this game come out, like, yeah, change everything and make me like not know what to expect. Nah, dude, like I'm on this ride until it's over.
I'm on it.
So,
Yeah, I'm on this ride. So I'm
And-
interested to see this
And
because
new stuff gonna come before we get this third one, man.
it is. I understand.
it is. It might.
said
Yeah. If it do, it was a good run. It was a good
It was a
run.
good run.
Hey,
It's
when
out
I
there.
Let me ask you
put
this.
Okay.
Yeah.
It just real quick. What if the 7 seconds isn't referring to the time that Sephiroth kills Aerith, but the time that Sephiroth takes control of Cloud?
So that's the thing. So the
It
7
could be.
seconds, like I think at the end of the when it said when you do the chapter select, because a lot of people like they went back and broke it down. Only took 7 seconds for such and such to happen and everything like that. But Max said on that thing with Easy Allies, he was like, no, like the song that plays at this point is like some like Song of the Ancients type thing, and it wasn't in the original game. It was in Advent Children. And it also was in reference to like when you read the text for the actual chapter select, it says that this was in reference to what is it, like the end of the world basically or something like that. So it's not directly alluding to, like on the surface it seems like it's all about the areas type stuff or area type stuff, but at the same time I think is of even bigger, like it supersedes all that. Like he's
Yeah.
at the edge of the creation where nothing else exists, kind of like in the same position that
Yeah.
Kefka was in at the end of 6,
Yeah.
where like
Mhm.
he
Yeah.
did it, like everything's gone,
Yeah.
but it just wasn't what he
Everything gone.
wanted.
It was what he wanted. Yeah.
Mhm.
So it's so much stuff that they could do because even if even if you play like in the timeline sense, actually the dude Dirge of Cerberus is the last one in the list, is a year after Advent Children. And
Really?
there
Okay, I
you
didn't know
find
that.
out, yeah. And
That was
there
with
you
Genesis
find
or
out
something
that
like that.
yeah, that the Earth had one more weapon up his sleeve, Omega weapon, and its sole purpose was if all else fails, it sucks up the life stream and takes it to another planet where everything else dies. So that's a whole so
Yo, Final Fantasy
people
X,
was
bro.
tying that in and be like, what if that's
Let me play
Sephiroth's
fans.
plan? What if that's his plan?
And
Is
he
to
uses
activate
that
Take
as
the
the
life
vessel.
Yeah. So
Wow.
Take the
in
life
that
stream
game
away.
you find out, and take the life stream away completely.
Wow.
Yeah, so in that one you find that it was an Omega weapon that was never activated, and its sole purpose, it doesn't fight. It sucks up all the life stream and goes to another planet. That's what.
That's got to be it then. Like
I'm
that
like,
has to be it.
ooh, that's what I'm saying. Oh my god.
But why? See, that's the thing. Like, why in the end game is there nothing else? Like, if he's at the edge of creation, I don't know. I don't
That's
know.
what I'm
It's
saying. He
crazy
figured
because
out
like
it's
I don't even
something that
know.
he knew.
We don't even
He
know if that's
knows
actually a
something.
place in time though. Because like if you look behind him in that cutscene, you see the outline of like the final version of Sephiroth. Like when he's talking, it's like a space cloud like far
Yeah.
behind him, of course, but it looks like the outline of Sephiroth from the final boss version of him before you get to that part where you Omni Slash and everything like that. So is this even a place like in reality? I mean, like at the end of the day, like
and that time though, he says that's where our planet will end up in the future, but he doesn't want to let that happen.
And
Yeah, he did say that. That's what I'm
He
saying.
don't want to. He
man.
don't want to let the planet.
He doesn't
Our
want it to
planet
happen.
will end up in a future time, but I'm not gonna let that happen.
Like
I
I
will
said,
never
I
end.
think
I don't want you to end.
I don't want you to end. He wants the immortality. He doesn't want to end up. So like I said, that theory of he doesn't want this time. He doesn't want to destroy everything. He's trying to live for some reason. He's trying. We know it deals with something. He wants to keep going. He
yeah,
doesn't want to even
he
die.
needs people apparently. Like he needs
needs
Cloud.
He needs Cloud. He didn't take Arrow, so he doesn't need the Holy no more. I don't think he cares about it. So I wonder, like I said, so that's when I went back and I read Dudes of Sybris. I wonder if is that what he's trying to prevent. So eventually, I don't know. I have
So
no clue.
maybe Sephiroth
So
becomes
that
the protagonist.
Omega
instead of
weapon
the
was
antagonist.
never activated to take the life stream away. So
Mm.
I don't know.
That's what I'm
So
saying.
I
the
don't
third game, you
know.
might play a Sephiroth, bro.
Sephiroth becomes the
You might
protagonist as
understand.
opposed to the antagonist, and really he's actually the hero of the story and not the villain.
Ooh, that'd be gangster. What if?
Hey,
Man,
tell
I'm
you.
What if
not.
what he is really
What
trying
if?
to do is actually
What
to
if
save?
he's trying to prevent? Yeah. What if he's trying
I'm
to
trying to
prevent the
save
natural
things, but
destination of the Earth?
yeah,
I mean,
I agree with PJ. What
I'ma
if
just say,
what if he
I'ma
found out that eventually Omega weapons activate and takes the life stream, and he's trying to prevent that? What if he's trying to do that?
what if he
I'm not trying to
learned?
die.
What if he learned that just like the Dirge, just like the Dirge, what if Genova is actually a corrupted version of the life stream from another planet that launched when something went wrong?
Ooh.
Just like how in the event that our live stream or this live stream, if in all else fails, will suck up the live stream and go somewhere else. What if that happened somewhere else and it was already too late? And when it launched into another planet, it was already corrupted live stream.
Like Final Fantasy X.
Because it's kind of interesting that Genova's able to merge with the live stream so easily, given that it's a foreign body. It's not from this planet.
Ooh.
Even by Eris's omission, only the people of this planet are supposed to join the live stream, not anything
Sephiroth
else.
is Orochimaru, basically. That's what we're saying.
You know.
I mean, I think it's super
And
telling.
what if Sephiroth learned all of this, and now maybe he becomes the protagonist, not the antagonist?
I think it's super. I think it's super telling too that Red 13, when you have that scene where he's like, "Oh, that we're basically getting rid of the bad ending." In Japanese, somebody translated that to, "This is the future that we're discarding." I think a lot of changes are gonna happen. So a lot of this stuff is super possible because we already know that future that we got now. As much as everybody loves the first game, it's not. Yeah, no. It wasn't the good ending. It wasn't how things should have gone.
And you know what?
It's already happened and it's not gonna happen again.
And I agree with Blue. I think Sephiroth realized that. I think he went to the edge of creation. He was there and realized
he knows something.
Crap.
He knows something no one else knows. Not even Aerith.
Even after Red, because like I said, when Red 13 was true, all humans was gone by then.
And that's the thing, like they've all stayed on that planet.
matter.
Sephiroth can go in space. Like Sephiroth, again, he navigates on a different level. So Ares knows what's happening locally.
But if Sephiroth can go in the past, he can probably also go in the future. So he can probably.
I mean, the edge of the creation is the
like y'all saying.
like that's the it.
I think that was it.
He could.
I think that
so he could see what's gonna happen. Okay, now I get what y'all saying. And then he sort of becomes the protagonist. No sense.
He doesn't. He's trying to prevent what's going to happen to the planet. I think when he died and became part of the life stream, he knew that eventually, either by Omega Weapon's hand or some other means that we don't know, as far as the lore is concerned, it's over. We just gonna be another Rob. I mean, like, I'm not going out like that.
But even with Geostigma, was Geostigma Sephiroth doing, or was it the planet punishing the people?
That's what it was framed as, like the planet punishing the people. But he could literally use the Geostigma to turn like he could use it to turn anyone who had it into Sephiroth.
But
Yeah,
remember,
so it
even
was-
in the game, even the OG game, though, it specifically states that Genova does that, not
That's what
Sephiroth.
I'm saying.
Genova's
Yeah.
the
That's
one
what
that
I'm saying.
transforms those people into
It
Sephiroth.
was the sales.
That's right. They
that-
do
so
her
it
bidding.
The actual real Sephiroth, he's just asleep, crystallized. He's not doing anything.
Right.
So Genova
Right.
was the one that was doing all of that stuff, not Sephiroth.
You right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
and
He,
the
free.
and see, I think he
Geostigma
tries
was
to break away
basically
from being her servant. It seems like at this point in time, he doesn't really care necessarily about doing the bidding of Genova.
Yeah.
He
Matter
has
of
his
fact,
own ulterior motives.
exactly because when he frees, he actually lets you fight her early on.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
He actually lets you fight Genova and wants you to get rid of. Ooh, I didn't think of that.
Hey,
What if
yo.
he trying to break away from everything?
Hey,
What
yo.
part you talking about, dude? Oh, you
Remember
talking about
when
the
he
end
goes-
of the original?
No, I'm talking about right in
No,
the
just even
remake.
this one. You fight Genova
Remember,
in
you
this one.
fight Genova
Hey, yo.
Oh, yeah.
early.
What?
You-
Was that Genova? Was that
What?
like a
Oh my.
aberration? Go ahead, Blue.
I'm sorry to
what
do
if
this.
you-
I'm sorry to do this to y'all, but what if at the end of the third game, the last fight we know is a 3-man party? What if the last fight is against Genova and you play as
Yeah.
Cloud, Sephiroth,
Rob
and
is
Zack?
Zack.
Oh my god.
I didn't think of that.
Hey, that's okay.
What if they do that to free themselves of
Oh my
Genova?
god,
And
bro.
it's a
What if they have to
7-second
do
fight. And it's a 7-second fight.
And it is
Nah, bro.
Oh my god. But that would make so much sense because who were the original 3 from the beginning of all of this, fam? Who were just the dudes who were just trying to be soldiers and friends, bro? Who was all on the same team riding in the truck? It was just Sephiroth, Zack, and Cloud,
Zack and
bro.
Cloud. What if,
Oh
what
my
if they
gosh.
have to fight Genova to free themselves of the freaking Genova?
It's a
cells,
cycle.
To save
The
free
cycle,
themselves
bro.
of the cycle. That'd be
Genova is the
wild.
enemy. Like we forget to address her so much
Yeah.
because Sephiroth is such a heavy presence throughout everything.
And maybe Genova's the one that has the cycle going through because in the end, according to the end, she never got the planet. She wanted the planet.
Yeah.
She never got it. So
Yeah.
she
So
keeps
what if he-
restarting time till she gets an ending that she's happy with.
Well, and even if
Okay.
she didn't have that amount of power, like she can corrupt the plot ghost and everything to do her bidding, and of course she has the control over Sephiroth too. So
Mhm.
all of that would make sense, man.
What we're forgetting
Okay,
too.
so
Okay,
all that
we
makes
did
sense
live
too.
stream that Sephiroth is conscious, but Aerith is also conscious in a live stream.
Mhm.
Hey, Genova's probably in there too. She just quiet. She she plot. You know what I'm saying? She sees what's going on too. So she's still active member in this story, even though because I don't think we see of her at first is she's in a little tube, and then Sephiroth gets her head or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, he takes her head.
No,
yeah.
he frees her. Yeah, he frees her.
Takes
But
her
then,
head.
like you say, you fight her. He wants you to fight her early and get that out the way.
Yeah.
And no matter what, and I said maybe he wants him to be stronger because his end goal is to free himself from Genova. His goal is to be free from her. That could be
It's so freaking
and
cool.
I think Blue.
I
that'd
think we
be
hit
good.
level 11, bro. Like I don't.
Ooh,
That's
well,
level
yeah,
11 right
yeah.
there. I hadn't seen nothing like that before.
Because
Actually,
remember, look at some of the
Magic
dialogue that Kajaj has in Final Fantasy VII Advent Children, right? So
They get-
he goes real deep and very cryptic in a sense, but at the same time, he's talking from something he believes. But remember, when he calls Cloud a wolf in sheep's clothing, what if Genova is the wolf in sheep's clothing to him? And he says that Sephiroth does so much for him. What if it's Sephiroth not even doing anything for him, but Genova's doing all that stuff?
Mm.
Our mother,
Genova
man.
really could be tricking everybody. Like Genova so
has-
Max ain't even hit this level yet. Genova is still an active antagonist
Yep.
of this whole thing. Period. Like so yeah, that's gonna be amazing, y'all. We gonna see. I'm gonna have to log off, but y'all, it's been sick.
This was good, bro.
Yeah.
It's good.
We done deep dive. This we
Yeah,
deep.
this This the
We done
fragmentary
fell through,
passage
but
2.0
yeah,
deep dive.
we did all that.
We need to save this
We-
recording. You need to shift this to Max, man. Let his
Yeah.
mind be blown.
I just want to
Again.
leave y'all with this one last thing, though. Just leave y'all with this one last
Okay,
theory, though. This
okay,
one last
okay,
theory. Okay,
okay.
all right. So, what if? All right, just bear with me, okay? Just what if the live stream is a product of its own failure? Because remember, we still haven't even touched on what the promised land is, right? What if the Cetra are running from the live stream? The live stream is a product of its own failure.
Mm.
It's not meant to exist.
Fam, so I'm telling you, I'm gonna look up some stuff about the relationship between the faith, the far plane, and the life stream. But Final Fantasy X and X-2 kind of
Yeah.
explore that in the sense of Titus dying, but Yuna bringing Titus back, and why that has its own bad implications and everything like that.
Yeah.
And so a lot of stuff happens outside of the game, like in books and stuff too, though. But like, yeah, it's not as clean as it may seem, and that's why I do think people escaped. I think that's why people went to other planets to explore life there. And if Meteor did follow them, if Genova followed them, then it makes all the sense in the world that, like you said with Dirge of Cerberus, Julian, like that they have a cop-out weapon to just start over everything by going to a different planet and sending it by some type of body, like a big celestial body almost.
Because we assume the live stream is a product of the Cetra. That's not been entirely confirmed.
Case,
it could have been a product of Genova.
Yeah, she could have brought it there herself.
She could have brought it there herself, and then the Cetra,
because it was like 2,000 years ago. So
after generations and generations, the Cetra didn't know anything about their past, and then they started harvesting the live stream for Mako and power and all that stuff, and then Genova's trying to enact some sort of grand plan that we don't know.
Shinra, yeah.
We gonna
so
see,
Genova's the master manipulator.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's the only card that hasn't shown his hand. It's the only player that hasn't shown her hand.
And she's still so secretive and mysterious. Really, we really don't know.
Messed me up. Blue, that messed me up. I think he's right now. I think the end game gonna fight Genova. I think that's the whole remake. That was silly. If you actually get to play as Sephiroth.
Fam, if I get to play as Sephiroth, bro.
Sephiroth, Cloud, and Zack fighting Genova.
Swinging that katana.
You heard it here first, bro. You heard it here first.
Come on.
That's probably gonna happen because in the OG game, you get Sephiroth in your party. Not far-fetched.
Yeah.
You get in your party when you go to Niflheim in the flashback.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know.
Yes.
Like you said, it was never Sephiroth. He was always crystallized. It was never. You never truly.
It wasn't the actual Sephiroth.
Yeah.
And you never did. He was always a slave to Genova, and it just he played it like that was his moment. But what if when all that was said and done, he got a grandmaster plan to free himself? That's his plan. Now he may be insane to take everybody else out with him, but his end goal is to actually be free.
Free, yeah.
He doesn't want none of this. That'll be gangster.
That's cool, man.
I know my dreams gonna be about.
Boy, we done took it way beyond a whole another level.
Yeah.
Tomorrow. Play this game tomorrow.
Yeah, dog. That's like the biggest thing. Like, even on my way coming home, I just was like, I need to play this game again. Like, I just want to hear everything, bro.
Analyze every dialogue. Well, I honestly think Sephiroth is gonna become the protagonist, though. I think he's gonna become the protagonist.
All right, man. Well, we did it. We did it, boys. We did it. It was nice. I don't know the next time we're gonna pod, but this was a good one.
That was deep.
What deep?
Who ready for the Kingdom Hearts 3? Kingdom Hearts 3 deep dive.
Please knock off for that.
Yeah, that Kingdom Hearts dive. I don't know what's gonna happen next. I'm done. I don't know.
Nah, it's going places. I can let you know. I can let you know some things because it's
I keep
This little
reading up
dark
on the
road little phone
YouTube. I
game.
know that's what I'm saying. I can't
Yeah.
master of masters. I can't. You gotta stop that.
I gave
They got a
Mars,
character
man.
who's supposed to have been around
The
Zimnis.
whole box. You take us on a journey for years, and you end it off like that. Like basically, okay,
Yes.
the black box and Igbar knew everything.
Yeah.
Oh my God, he knew. I mean, he's been there
Zigbar
forever,
knew
man.
everything. Because he's not
Oh
really
my God, I
Zigbar.
can't
That's
believe-
on crazy,
He's
bro.
not. And Master told him to do that for years. I said, oh no, stop.
Ooh, nah, you gonna be back. You know you gonna be back. You gonna play in that real life with Yozora.
I can't do it.
Man, the best question with King Mars, why won't Donald heal me? That's the only question I want to know.
Yeah.
I want.
You said what?
I said the big question.
He
with King Mars,
cast Zeta
Donald-
Flare, bro. He redeemed himself. He cast Zeta Flare. It's all good.
Where was that?
He
Mars
did
one,
that
two,
on
one.
purpose. That's the trolling part.
tried to
They
be-
did that
What was
because
that?
they knew.
He shot a command mail. Nah, man.
Oh my God.
They knew he sucked so bad for 10 plus years. And they gave him a clutch play.
Yo,
Like
yeah.
Goofy, that boy. I ain't gonna lie, Goofy saved my butt a couple of
Oh
times.
yeah, Goofy that dude. Goofy that dude, that baby shield.
Yeah. Donald, I'm sorry, y'all heard him. Donald's trash. Donald trash. I'm sorry, man.
Nah. No, the best thing was when you play KH2 and then you start dying and then Mickey come in out of nowhere and you be like, oh snap. Like he's just going ham. Like that's the best experience.
Hey, Mickey, where you been at?
Yeah. I really wish there's a in 358 over 2 days on the DS you could play as the organization members, including like Shion and Roxas and stuff, as like a multiplayer mode. You could do like different missions with them, but like it would have been dope if you could have done that in like a game. That's one thing they haven't done. You know, we have Dissidia for Final Fantasy characters. It's about time they did a Kingdom Hearts game. We got enough Keyblade wielders and enough Organization 13 people and nobodies and everybody's and whatever. We can go ahead and do a little fighting game with them. I think that'd be nice.
As long as they don't end up in Smash.
Oh yeah, Sora and Smash.
Sora.
Sora and Smash. By the end of this year, Sora and Smash. You already know.
It's gonna be young Xandor. They gonna troll y'all.
They gonna troll us like them. They gonna give us They gonna give us Kyrie.
Put the Anthem character in.
It's gonna be the 14th organization member that's gonna be in the new one. That's gonna all right, it's gonna live.
Oh my gosh.
What if the master hand in Smash is actually the master of master? Well, that's his hand.
Oh my God.
All
right, brother.
All right, man.
All
They're
right.
gonna release a secret stage. Gonna be Kingdom Hearts in the background, just floating. That's classic. That is classic.
Yo, what if every Final Fantasy protagonist was related? So like you got your Cloud, Cloud, Noctis, Lightning are like a trio. They all have similar personalities, but also Squall. I can't necessarily say like Zidane and what's the dude from 12? Van. They're both kind of peppy, so I don't see them
Well,
fitting
what's
that.
the name almost
But
is
like
10 is almost a carbon copy of, or at least visually looks like Cloud.
Titus? Yeah.
Titus.
Titus.
Cloud. He looks so
Yeah.
much like Cloud. And what's his? Was it Yuffie? No, not Yuffie. I didn't play 10, so I don't know.
Oh, you talking about Yuna?
Yuna looks very similar to Tifa.
Yeah. I'm gonna do some deep investigations in the mix of 10 and
Like if they would
7.
have seriously to have the balls to either blend at least at the very latest 7 and 10 or all of them, bruh.
All of them,
bruh.
Like I said, that's what I would think. That's what I would.
Because even like what Julian was saying earlier, like Dagon 6 has very similar plot points.
Themes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you gotta fight him at the same creation point.
Exactly.
Like I said, my big brain theory, and I said that's my
Even the design of Kefka, final boss Kefka, is very similar to final boss Sephiroth. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
Like definitely like
it's the
angels
same
and
setup.
like
It's the same
heavenly type
setup.
stuff. Yeah, for sure.
So I think So I think that all of them, if they play that, if they go that route, I think that creation little stage is where the universe resets itself for each Final Fantasy. And we gonna play that route. And I think that Sephiroth found out. I think we know that he became self-aware of himself.
I mean, he's playing with us
dying.
directly. Like I said, within this game, he's definitely taunting you the whole time.
He taunts you.
Yeah.
Because he knows.
I mean,
he knows
even
something.
from the trailer, some of the imagery in that opening trailer, like I didn't even really notice it because I didn't know to look for it. But like with the flowers on the ground, you see for a split second a black feather come down, and that's in the 2015 reveal trailer.
Yeah.
When they first showed the key art for this game, it was 3 years ago, and it had the one-wing angel version of Sephiroth with the black wing.
I didn't even know. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
I said that. They've been trolling. They've been telling us from the future.
Yeah.
But if you if you really look at the dialogue, also is that Sephiroth definitely knows something more than Aerith does. Because Aerith, she's going based off of the way it's supposed to go, but she's not fully aware of all the things that's going on. Sephiroth definitely knows something way
really
more
big brain. Yeah, he's super
than
big
anybody else. So
I agree.
And right now, Aerith is still viewing Sephiroth as the villain. That's why I think maybe most likely they're gonna flip the script and probably make him the protagonist.
Script and realize that nope, he's just trying to free himself. He's just taking a stupid rape away that's gonna kill everybody, most likely. But at the same time, it's like he's really just he doesn't want to be a part of the cycle anymore. He doesn't want to be a part of it. So we gonna see.
Oh man,
we'll see. Going to see.
Y'all made me hungry, man. I'm about to go eat, but
get that food in, bro.
All right, I can't wait to watch this again. Like, like that's what's crazy. Like, I can't wait to like look at this myself.
Nah, so you gotta go play the game again, then watch it again.
I gotta fuck the game up, man. I at least gotta hear the menu music tonight. This like it's crazy.
And then Blue gonna finish the OG game, and he gonna be like, "Bro, I got the new theory though."
Exactly.
I got a whole new theory.
I seen it.
All right, y'all. This was fun, man.
Yeah, man. We'll do it again.
For sure. Oh yeah.
All right.
All right. Peace.
Peace.